Competitiveness.
Heart.
Desire.
It takes motivation.
Hard work.
Determination.
It takes sacrifice and dedication.
Oh, nothing but net!
100% reason to remember the name.
Desire.
What does it take? Well, at this point in time, it takes some calm nerves by people in the Bulls draft room and by that guy. You know, Derrick Rose went to his high school prom about a year and 2 months ago. Now he's on the verge of being the top pick in the NBA draft. It is the 2008 NBA draft, live from the WAMU Theater in Madison Square Garden in New York. This is the 25th draft presided over by NBA Commissioner David Stern. Here's David.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NBA draft at the WAMU Theater at Madison Square Garden in New York City, home of the New York Knicks and the WNBA's New York Liberty. For 60 of the world's most talented and dedicated young players, tonight marks the culmination of years of hard work as their NBA dream of being selected to play in the NBA moves closer to reality. We are joined in record numbers by our fans watching on ESPN, listening on ESPN Radio, watching on TV in over 200 countries, and logging on to NBA.com. Thank you for joining us, and a special thank you to these wonderful fans who have gathered here tonight. And thank you for supporting us during one of the most successful and exciting seasons, where our young stars and our not-so-young stars demonstrated their extraordinary skills, and the Boston Celtics earned their record 17th NBA championship. I thought that would get a cheer. And now to the task at hand. The first pick in the 2008 NBA draft will be made by the Chicago Bulls, who will have 5 minutes to make their selection.
Thank you, David. In the first round, teams have 5 minutes in between selections. In the second round, you got to think a lot quicker. There are only 2 minutes in between each selection. Let's take a look at the Bulls, the team timeline. They were last in the NBA in shooting, only shot 43%. Jeff Van Gundy could do that with his eyes closed. On February 21st, they got Drew Gooden and Larry Hughes as part of the Ben Wallace trade, sending Ben to Cleveland. May 22nd, on a 1.7% chance, they won the NBA draft lottery. And on June 11th, Vinny Del Negro named head coach of the Chicago Bulls. Let's take a look at our Kia scouting report on the Bulls. This is their starters in 2007, 2008, and key reserves. They've got a bevy of guards already. How does Derrick Rose fit into this team?
Well, to me, they have some issues. When you talk about Derrick Rose, if you decide to take Derrick Rose with the #1 pick, then now what's your next move? When you talk about Ben Gordon, Kurt Heinrich, Larry Hughes, you have to find a way to move some of those guys to allow this young guy to prosper and set the tone in your locker room.
Well, I agree with you, and I don't think it's about Derrick Rose fitting in with the team. I think it's fitting the team around his special talents. And so, to me, like you said, Mark, they have to move some of their guards, get more front court help. They need some low post scoring, and they need to fortify their defensive intensity once again.
You know, Derrick Rose is better than anybody they got. And when you take him, you do have to make another move. But you anticipate that going in when you've got the #1 pick, that you may have to move somebody on your roster. But Derrick Rose, I think, in time, is going to bring everybody together on this team. I mean, last year, guy won 38 games. That's an NCAA. Played 1 year of college basketball, won 38 games. That's a record.
John Paxson, the GM of the Bulls, some of his draft day acquisitions, Lou Oldang, Kirk Heinrich, Ben Gordon. Now, all of them good players, but nothing like you expect Derrick Rose to be. What kind of pressure Derrick player?
There's pressure on every GM in the NBA to win. I think when you bring a point guard in like Derrick Rose, he's the guy you can really build around, because he's going to make everybody in that franchise better. The problem is he's only 19 years old, so he's going to need a little bit of time to mature. You know, Jeff has talked about the leadership, but putting that on a 19-year-old kid, I mean, that's going to require some help from the other players and obviously the coaching staff. He's going to need some veteran leadership to help get him through it and blossom into the player that he can be.
Jeff, how long do you think it'll take Derrick Rose to feel comfortable within this team and that team system?
Well, I think a lot of that depends on how the other players on the team perceive him. Are they happy that he's there? Are they worried about their own minutes and their own shots? So to me, so much of it is, how do the people and the veteran players of the Bulls respond to Derrick Rose and mentor him to make him the best possible player he can be?
And I think if you're in the draft room right now for the Chicago Bulls, the question is, okay, what's the next move? Who do we move? You have to around the league for guys like Heinrich for a sign and trade with Gordon, for Larry Hughes, you sign Ben Wallace. You have to find a low post presence to take all the pressure off of Rose to be spectacular.
John Paxson has already been adamant that, you know, if they take Rose, which they will, they have to move either Ben Gordon or Kirk Heinrich. Paxson's there, Vinny Del Negro is there. You know, before this, Vinny Del Negro was probably most famous for a single-digit handicap on the golf course and winning a national championship with North Carolina State. He was named the Bulls coach on June 11th. He's been a Suns assistant general manager and the Suns director of player personnel. A lot of people thought that his hiring was a complete shock around the league. What do you think is going to be the toughest part for him being the head coach of this team?
I think ultimately when you're a first-time coach in this league, the thing you have to do is capture your locker room. You have to send a message that things are going to be different around here, and it starts, and then you break down how we're going to make a difference. Just don't preach to them, but let them know how it's going to happen, and that's how you impact an organization and a team.
And for me, from a head coaching standpoint, it's about confidence, it's about sincerity, it's about reliability and trustworthiness, and that brings about a respect that's given to you. If you have all four of those things, you can capture your locker room and you can get them to believe in you.
And he's been there before. I mean, it's hard to predict. You can have a guy that has all this experience, he can go into a different locker room and not do well at all. It's all going to depend on the credibility he establishes when he walks in there. I agree with Mark. The first time he walks in there and establishes credibility and accountability as a unit is going to be really important.
I tell you that they went outside the box.
All right, the Chicago Bulls. It is their first #1 overall pick since 1999. We think we know where they're going. Commissioner David Stern will tell us if we're correct.
With the first pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Chicago Bulls select Derrick Rose from the University of Memphis.
After a year away from home at Memphis, Derrick Rose is going back home to Chicago. He led his high school to 2 state championships when he was a prep star. Said before is Pooh. Yeah, like Winnie the Pooh. His grandmother named him that after his obsession with sweets because, you know, Winnie the Pooh likes honey. I believe this is about as sweet as it can be. Here's the reaction in Chicago in their draft room. Public and decided it was going to be Derrick Rose. The 6'2", 196-pound guard out of Memphis, Jay, time.
Well, first two, he's a winner. We talked about winning 38 championship game last year, but he is not used to losing. And one of the, I thought, the really neat things about Derrick Rose last year is his coach, John Calipari, had to talk him into being more assertive. He was deferring to his older teammates. He's a world-class athlete, a prototype point guard in the NBA. He's got great strength, unbelievable in transition. I really like his ability to get into the lane, whether in half-court or full-court situation, absorb a bump, and creatively finish with strength and athleticism. I mean, he can just get up and finish. He can dunk with his elbows when they throw him a lob. I think he's the real thing. He's not a consistent shooter, Jeff, but I think he's going to get that because his shot mechanics are good, and he's such a great athlete.
And I think as importantly, Jay, is that he establishes some ball pressure defensively. When you're able to cut off penetration, you set the tone for the entire team. So to me, it's not just about his offense, it's about the ability to contain dribble penetration.
Well, to me, it's about a tough kid. When you talk about the Chicago Bulls, you watch him last year, this was a fragile team mentally. Here's a guy with his bounce and his swagger. He's going to send a message during tough times. I'm going to put you on your back. Just follow my lead, guys.
Well, his teammates followed his lead when he was in high school. Back in March of 2006, the Illinois Class 2A state title game, Simeon Career Academy against Peoria Richwoods, Derrick Rose got the game-winning steal and the jumper in overtime to lead Simeon Career Academy to the Illinois Class AA state title. Now, he's just a #1 pick, hanging out with Stephen A. Smith.
Thanks a lot, Stu. Derrick Rose,
Yes.
Chicago native. Now you're playing for the Chicago Bulls in the house that Michael Jordan built. What are you feeling right now?
It feels great knowing I'm in his presence. I'm not even near him. I'm not even near him now, but it feels great to play back at home.
I want to know what you're going to do about the Chicago Bulls. You're #1 overall picked as the team that averaged 97 points a game, 18th in the league last year in offense. What is Derrick Rose going to bring to the table for the Chicago Bulls?
Some more leadership, because of course I got to lead the team and stay focused and hopefully just get a couple more wins.
Plain and simple. Derrick Rose, #1 overall pick in the draft. To Doris Burke with your mom.
Yes, Stephen, I've got Brenda. And Brenda, you and Derrick's 3 brothers, Reggie, Allen, and Dwayne, have kept very close watch on his career as he's progressed to this, his dream come true. What is this moment like for your family?
I'm very happy for him that his dream has came true for him.
Leading up to this draft, there has been speculation that he would go to Chicago. There's been articles written, pros and cons, about somebody dealing with the pressures of playing in front of their hometown fans. From a mom's perspective, what are your thoughts there?
I don't think that he will have that much pressure because he's used to playing in Chicago. That's the only place where he knows how to play.
And he's nice and close, so you can keep a close eye on him. Congratulations, Stu.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Doris. The highest player ever selected by Memphis before this was Penny Hardaway in 1993. The Miami Heat, they are now on the clock. And remember, it was just 2 years ago from this night that the Heat were the NBA champions. A lot happened since then. This past season, they had the worst record in the NBA at 15-67. What are they going to do with their pick? There's been a lot of discussion. Will it be Michael Beasley? Will it be O.J. Mayo? Only one person knows for sure. His name is David Stern, and as he comes to the podium, we got to understand this. The Heat flew in O.J. Mayo to Miami on Tuesday, and this is when they all thought that Beasley was the supposed pick. So that's the thing that ended up raising a whole lot of questions. Here's the commissioner now with the pick.
With the second pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Miami Heat select Michael Beasley from Kansas State University.
You know, throughout all this debate, will it be Beasley, will it be Mayo, Mark Jackson said, if I got the second pick, I pick Michael Beasley and I take my phone off the hook. The Heat now, their first lottery pick since 2003, and this means that freshmen have now gone 1-2 in the NBA draft for the second straight year, and it's also the only 2 times in NBA history this has happened. Beasley, a unanimous first-team All-American, Big 12 Player of the Year, 26 points per game, 12 rebounds per game. Jay Billis, saying this guy is a beast is a bit of an understatement, isn't it?
There's no question. I mean, you mentioned it with the numbers. Productivity and efficiency absolutely off the charts. There's nobody else in this draft or the last several drafts that has been close to what Michael Beasley's able to put up night after night, and he does it consistently. And people talk about the fact that he didn't measure out to be 6'10", but he's got arms that extend beyond normal human limits. He's got a wingspan of over 7 feet, and he's very bouncy. He's got great feet, second jump ability, an outstanding rebounder. He's got just a great feel for scoring, and he knows how to operate in a crowd. I mean, he can score in traffic, he can rebound in traffic, he's got great strength, and he's got a terrific demeanor on the floor, great aptitude, and I think he's really a competitor. You know, people can talk about the fact that he's not a great defender, that he doesn't put everything he has into defense, but I think he's a pretty darn good defender, especially when he puts his mind to it. But where he's special, Jeff and Mark, is on the offensive end. He's a big-time natural scorer, and you just can't teach him.
And for me, that's what Miami needs desperately. So I think with Wade back, Sean Marion, and now adding Beasley, they're going to be very, very hard to guard.
It's an incredible talent. This guy can flat out score, and he gives another weapon alongside of Wade.
He also has an incredible family. Doris Burke is with someone in his family now. Doris, what's the big decision his family made before he went to Kansas State?
Well, I've got Fatima Smith. She raised 5 children, Stu, all by herself. Michael is the second oldest of those 5, and Fatima, obviously a very emotional moment for you, but what is it like for a mom to watch her son be the second overall selection in the NBA draft?
I mean, there's no words that would have prepared me for this. I thought I would have had all the answers for you when you came back, but when you work so hard with the team that we have to put him in this position and see the outcome, it's just unimaginable, and words cannot describe it.
Congratulations, Stephen A. Michael, your mom is very, very happy and proud.
She has a reason to be, big man. Congratulations. I'm wondering, with all the speculation coming into this draft, were you concerned, were you scared that you wasn't going to end up being picked by the Miami Heat?
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen in the draft, you know. I think past year showed that, and just to be here right now just made me a whole lot happier.
All right, give it to me, and I want specifics. They were 15 and 67 last year. This team struggled in every category imaginable. What is the city of Miami getting from Michael Beasley next season?
You're getting a great player, a hard worker, a good rebounder, you know. Just a fun-loving guy off the court, you know. I think every team needs that.
Right. Wayne Wade's looking forward to it. Stu, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Stephen A. You saw Michael Beasley and Derrick Rose in our promos when, you know, they messed up a couple of times. Hopefully they won't mess up on the court. Let's go back to Derrick Rose. In Chicago, the Bulls take Rose #1 overall. Our David Amber is standing by now with Bulls GM John Paxson. David?
John, break it down. Why Derrick Rose?
Well, for us right now, it's a perfect fit. He's a very, very talented young man, and you know, in this league, point guards are really hard to find, and he's got a strength about him at that position that most guards don't have in this league at that position. Great burst, very fast with the ball. I think he's going to make other players better, and I think he'll give us some leadership abilities as he goes on that we really need. So for us, it was the right pick.
You said the pick was made recently. What is this do to your roster? What are you going to have to do now?
Well, I know everybody says we have a glut of guards, but we also have some issues, you know. You know, Derrick is going to, he's not a guy that we're going to look at and say, you know, come in right away and here. He'll earn that if given the chance, which he'll get. But, you know, we're not going to throw him in this thing saying, here, you got to do everything right now. So, you know, we'll give him time. We'll be a little bit cautious right now. We'll figure out our roster as we go.
John Paxson, you won 3 titles with the Bulls, hoping Derrick Rose can bring some of that magic back to the Windy City. Stu, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Dave. The Chicago Bulls lost 49 games this past season. The Miami Heat had the worst record in the league. Right now on the clock, the Minnesota Timberwolves, who picked 3rd. Minnesota, their 22 wins is their fewest since the 94-95 season. Not so coincidentally, that was the first season without Kevin Garnett. 4 straight seasons they have missed the playoffs. They do have a player who's productive. Al Jefferson, 21 points, 11 rebounds per game. The Minnesota Timberwolves with the 3rd pick in the draft. Do they go big? Do they go small? This is a team that lost Kevin Garnett in that trade to the Boston Celtics. Who do they gain? Let's go to the podium and NBA Commissioner David Stern.
With the 3rd pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select O.J. Mayo from the University of Southern California.
We know him as O.J. Mayo. His full name is Ovinton J. Anthony Mayo. For the first time ever, freshmen have gone 1-2-3 in the NBA draft as the guy who averaged 20 points per game for USC this past season, first team All Pac-10, goes to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jay Bilas, you said that out of all the guys in the draft, he is the most NBA ready right now. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think he's ready to step into the league and play right away, more so than any other guard in this draft. He's almost 21 years old. He's been groomed for this his entire life. And the thing I like best about O.J. Mayo is this young man steps on the floor to compete. He wants to be a basketball player, and he wants to be a great basketball player, and he works at it. And what really impressed me, I was a little skeptical of Mayo when I saw him in high school. I wasn't sure he was a great teammate, and he seemed like a little bit of a prepared package guy, but I turned around on that pretty quick. He was a really good teammate last year at Southern Cal, and he gets down and he guards people. I mean, I saw him at Arizona shut down a terrific player in Jared Bayless, who's going to be drafted pretty soon after this. Good in transition. He can shoot it. Good in the mid-range. One of the things, I think he can play some point. I don't think he's a natural point, but he's a good passer. He's got the complete package, and I think he's going to be a really good NBA player.
And I agree, and I think he was very well coached by Tim Floyd, so he's got a tenacity and intensity about him that very few players have coming into the league. Tough, strong, and what I like, he's very nasty on the court.
Well, a poise, a great demeanor, a guy that gets after it. I played with him at UCLA in the summertime, and if you got a young fella that can make me and my 16-year-old son look good on the floor, incredible talent.
Did you D him up when you played with him?
We played together. I'm smart, Stu.
You are smart. He's like, I ain't pulling any kind of muscle. O.J. Mayo, the highest USC player selected before this was Paul Westphal, who went 10th in 1972. O.J. Mayo goes 3rd, and then he gets an interview right now with Stephen A. Smith.
They're saying, all right, O.J., they're saying that you got poise, you got skills, you got a jump shot. They pretty much said you've got the whole package. You've been highly publicized since you were in the 7th grade. I want to know what you think you're bringing to the table for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I'm definitely going to bring some leadership, a lot of hard work and determination, to be successful. I really just want to be a good pro and just help the Minnesota Timberwolves out as much as I can.
Now, you came up to me yesterday. Before you even said hello, you said, Stephen A., I could play the point guard. I can play point on the NBA level. You trying to play the point for the Minnesota Timberwolves? What you trying to do?
Yes, sir, most definitely. If they need me at the point guard position, I'll play the point guard position. If they need me at the 2, I'll play the 2. I'm just happy to be a part of the organization, and I'm just ready to roll.
Stu, you heard him. Evidently, he can do it all. Surprise, surprise. O.J. Mayo, the number 3 overall pick. Back to you, Stu.
Stephen A., thanks a lot. First time ever that Southern Cal's had first-round picks in back-to-back years. Nick Young, 2007, last year. Let's go back now to the Miami Heat, their second overall pick in the draft. Pat Riley joins us now via video conference. Pat, we appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us. There was a lot of discussion about who Miami would pick with the second pick. What went into you all's decision?
Well, I mean, the day the season ended, we went to work and began to do our due diligence, on the whole draft. We had the worst record in the NBA, and we had a lot of adversity. We needed a lot of holes filled, and we still do, but even up to the lottery until we got the second pick, and then we went to work and we continued to do our due diligence and take a look at every single player that we felt would help us, in case something happened where, we would make a deal to multiply that pick. But in the end, Randy Funn and Chet Kammerer and Adam Simon, the people who I listen to about personnel more than anybody else, got me in a room and made sure that Mr. Beasley was going to be part of the Miami Heat. And I don't think there was any question on our part. We love Michael. He's an incredible athlete. He's a great scorer. I don't even want to get into talking to you about the numbers that we've analyzed. They're really off the charts. He's a young player, and we hope that he matures real quickly, and we feel like we have the infrastructure and the organization down here to help him do that.
All right, we appreciate it, Pat Riley. Michael Beasley, Dwayne Wade, Sean Marion, not a bad threesome to build around. The Seattle Supersonics are now on the clock, the team with the most draft picks. They have 6 draft picks, exactly 1/10 of all the draft picks in this draft. We bring in ESPN.com senior writer Andy Katz. Andy, we've talked for the last couple of days that Seattle, it seems like they've been trying to make certain moves. What are they doing with this now?
Well, they were trying throughout the course of the day to move back into the lottery with number 4 because there was a sense that if they moved back, they could get some of their choices, whether that's Brook Lopez or Russell Westbrook. They thought they could be a little bit further back, so there was talk that they may move further back. They did talk to the Clippers earlier before the 2 o'clock deadline, but the Clippers were only going to do a deal if they thought O.J. Mayo would be there at number 4. Once they believed he would be gone at 3, the deal was off, and the Sonics had told me earlier this afternoon that they were going to keep this pick.
All right. The Seattle Supersonics picking 4th. They had a franchise record 62 losses last year. Commissioner Stern at the podium with the pick.
With the 4th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Seattle Supersonics select Russell Westbrook from UCLA.
this is nothing new. For the 12th straight year, a UCLA Bruin has been drafted. Kevin Durant there, he's like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Durant, the NBA Rookie of the Year this past season, welcomes Russell Westbrook into the fold, the third-team All-Pac-10. Westbrook also the Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year, 12 points, 4 assists per game last season. Here's one of the interesting things about him. This guy was a late bloomer. He did not even start in his high school team until his junior season. Now he's the 4th overall pick in the NBA draft. Jay Billis, what stands out about him?
You know, what's funny, too, is junior year in high school, Russell Westbrook couldn't even dunk, and he's been putting up highlight dunks in the last year. I mean, who would have thought last year at this time that Russell Westbrook would have been the 4th pick in this draft? A spectacular athlete, great in transition. He can really change ends. He can go coast to coast, and he can finish with authority. He can really put the ball on the deck and get into the lane. He did it especially in the Final Four against Memphis, where he was one of the best players on the floor. But his finishing ability is without question. He takes it up, makes spectacular plays at just 6'4". Great length. I think he's the best individual defender in this draft. He's got good anticipation skills. He uses his length and his athleticism very well. He can stay in front, and I think that makes him very intriguing. What's really funny, though, is a lot of people look at him, can he play the point guard position? And I think he can play it. I think he can initiate as a point guard, but he's not a natural in that position. But when Darren Collison was out earlier this year, it was Russell Westbrook that took over at the point for UCLA, and he was leading the Pac-10 in assists while he was filling in for Collison. So he's got some aptitude at that position as well.
And for me, it's like with Westbrook, if he's not a true point, then what are you going to do with Durant? Are you going to put him at the 2, or are you going to move him to the 3? To me, that's a critical decision for Seattle.
Russell Westbrook, the newest Seattle Supersonic. You saw his teammate Kevin Durant with a big old smile on his face. Stephen A. Smith, how much is Russell smiling right now?
Oh, he's smiling. He's been smiling since yesterday, too. Russ, I got to ask you, you heard the coach, Jeff Van Gundy. He knows what he's talking about. He says if Russell Westbrook is not a natural point guard, what are you going to do in certain situations with Kevin Durant and those guys? How do you answer that question? What are you, Russell Westbrook?
I'm a point guard. You know, I'm going to try my best and go out and, you know, do what I can for the team and try to help him any way I can.
All right, congratulations. You told me I got to kick it to Doris. You know I'd like to talk to you more. Back to you, Doris.
Stephen, thank you. And I asked Kevin Durant, this year's Rookie of the Year, did he know this was the direction the franchise was going? He put a big smile on his face. So tell us, from the Seattle Supersonics, what do you see?
Defender, you know, a great guy to be around, I heard, and you know, he's a great addition to our team. So I'm excited to play for him next year, and I can't wait.
Congratulations on the pick. Good luck next year. Stu?
Westbrook is the first UCLA player selected in the top 10 since Baron Davis. Still ahead here, the Knicks, the New York Knicks, just 2 picks away from the 6th pick. What will they do? Are we going Italian? Are we going point guard? We'll find out when we get back.
Proactive Solution has good news if you have a difficult pimple or sudden breakout and are looking for relief. Because when you order now, you'll get the exclusive refining mask free with your 3-piece kit. Just a dab, and the mask is designed to zap problem zits fast. It's dramatic.
I put it on in the evening before I go to bed, and I was happy with how it made my skin look. That's a good feeling.
I can tell it works, I know it works, and it's definitely my favorite product.
Call now and order Proactive Solution to help clear your acne and help prevent future breakouts. And now you'll save 50% on Proactive, just $19.95 Canadian. That's right, Proactive is now available in Canadian dollars.
For on-the-spot pimple control, I use the refining mask. Just a little dab, that's all you need.
It's Proactive's hottest product, and it's part of Proactive's best offer. So don't just dream of clear, beautiful skin, make it real. Order now by calling the number on your screen or order online at proactivesolution.ca.
The 2008 Suzuki Grand Vitara has won a Gold Key Award for Best New Compact SUV 2 years in a row. It comes standard with 4-wheel drive, automatic climate control, power windows, locks and mirrors, ABS, speed sensing volume control, keyless entry, 5-year unlimited roadside assistance, and it's also got an available 5-speed automatic transmission. So test drive a loaded Suzuki Grand Vitara today and get 0% purchase financing for 72 months OAC.
It has a 6-liter, 48-valve V12 engine with 510 horsepower. Electronic active roll suspension. Custom leather seats with 6 levels of massage. voice command navigation system, and it all means nothing. Unless you have the right tires. For drivers who want to get the most out of their cars, it's Bridgestone or nothing.
Welcome back to New York City, the WaMu Theater in Madison Square Garden. The draft board slowly starting to fill up. 4 picks in. Russell Westbrook went 4th. The Memphis Grizzlies are now on the clock. This is what their team has done. At least you can say they're consistent, kind of. Their second straight 22-60 season. But what's even worse is they were 9-27 after trading Pau Gasol. They do have a scorer on their team. Rudy Gay, a lottery pick a couple of years ago, averaged 20.1 points per game. Jay Billis, best available players. Who do you like out of them?
Well, Brook Lopez is the best available center, but Kevin Love is the best available power forward, and probably overall a more versatile player, and maybe a more important pick for a team like Memphis would be Kevin Love.
The Memphis Grizzlies did not do well when they were in close games. In games decided by 3 points or less, they were only 2-11. The pick is in. The commissioner's at the podium. What you got, Commissioner?
The 5th pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Kevin Love from UCLA.
The 6th time in the history of the lottery, teammates have been picked back-to-back. Russell Westbrook at 4, Kevin Love at 5. This is the team, of course, UCLA, that went to the Final Four. And it's also the 2nd time ever that 2 UCLA players have gone in the top 5. Back in 1969, a guy named Lucius Allen went number 3. And at number 1 overall that year, some fella by the name of Lou Alcindor. He was halfway decent, wasn't he?
He wasn't bad. New York.
From one big guy at UCLA, Lou Alcindor, Jay Billis, to another big guy from UCLA, Kevin Love. What do you like about him?
Well, Kevin Love is just a big guy that knows how to play. He's got a great feel for the game, incredibly strong, uses his body very well to seal off and bury his man deep in the post, and he can use either hand when he gets the ball into the post. And I think it's interesting, he's a pick and pop player because he can shoot the ball from the perimeter. He's got good footwork, and he's also an outstanding passer, so he can shot fake, put the ball on the floor, and get to the basket. Underrated as an athlete. I think people complain about his athleticism, but I think he's a far better athlete than he gets credit for. Very, very productive, very, very efficient, and he can shoot the ball from NBA range. He's just not a great runner of the floor. He doesn't run pretty, but he can shoot it, he can post up, and I think he's a spectacular passer. Sees the floor, passes out of the post very well. A great outlet passer. We've talked about him being an outlet passer in the mold of Bill Walton or Wes Unseld. That's how far you have to go back to find an outlet passer that can throw it with the strength that he can and the accuracy. And he's done something, Stu, I've never seen before. I mean, he can throw a chest pass 94 feet and throw it into the other basket, and he does it routinely. I've never seen anything like this. First time I saw it, Ben Howland had me stay after practice to watch it, and I was absolutely floored.
Well, here it is right here, and here's the thing. That's from half court.
He just flicks it.
In the early round of the 2008 NCAA tournament, chest pass the length of the court, and it's not like a one-time fluke. He can do this regularly. You mentioned he was strong. Hey, anybody can throw a chest pass, Stephen A. Smith, but can you handle an interview is what I want to know.
Well, I have no choice here with Kevin Love. Kevin, well, you know, last year watching you in college, you're buff, you're bigger. Now you're slim, you lost some weight, you got muscles. I mean, what's going on here? What can we expect from Kevin Love, the new Kevin Love?
Well, I think you always know what you're going to get from me. You know, I feel like I can be a double-double guy throughout the course of the league. There's going to be a lot of things I'll have to improve on and learn, but I think I've built myself the right path.
This is a team that went 22-60 last year, traded Pau Gasol, went 9-27 since the trade. Obviously, it's a rebuilding situation. You're accustomed to winning. How are you going to handle that?
Well, I'm just going to try to help win, and that's all I can do. You know, I have a winning attitude. I feel like I'm a winner, so I'm just going to go out there, try my best, and like I said, get on the boards, you know, try to take the good shots, and my basketball IQ will take me to the next level.
Remember, I told you I ran into your family in the elevator. Doris has a member of the Love family right now. Back to you, Doris.
Thank you, Stephen A. Indeed, I've got Stan Love, who spent 4 years in the NBA himself. And Stan, when your son was selected 5th, the excitement coming off you was palpable. This has been a shared passion, this game, between you and your son. What is this moment like for the entire Love family?
it's just terrific. It's wonderful. Kevin has worked very hard all his life. This has been his dream, and it's always wonderful to watch one of your children attain their dream.
He has talked about being raised around the NBA culture. You actually showed him footage of Kevin McHale. What is the thing you've stressed most to your son as this process has worn on?
Well, I like to show him a lot of history of the NBA, and I did expose him to a lot of the older school kind of players. And I just stressed to him to work hard every day, don't be lazy, just work as hard as you can, because it will be the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life.
Clearly he listens well. Congratulations. Stu?
He's not even the most famous member of his family, Kevin Love. His uncle Mike is the lead singer of the band The Beach Boys. All right, here are the words that this crowd has been waiting for. The New York Knicks are on the clock, and they need a lot of help. There's a whole new regime for the Knicks, of course. Isaiah Thomas is out. Donnie Walsh, the new team president. And, of course, the new head coach is Mike D'Antoni, who came over from the Phoenix Suns. Real quickly, guys, the Knicks need a lot. What's the biggest thing? What should they do right here?
Well, in my opinion, what they should do is take the best available guy. Take the sure bet. Make sure your guy can play and impact your locker room immediately.
Got a lot of ways they can go. Jared Bayless is available from Arizona, an outstanding point guard prospect. Their outstanding point guard prospect from Texas. There are a lot of good guards they can get, and Brook Lopez is still available.
Well, they need a lot, and this is a team that has gone 7 straight seasons without making the postseason. Is the crowd ready to roar or do whatever they're going to do? NBA Commissioner with the Knicks pick.
With the 6th pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the New York Knicks select Danilo Gallinari from San
Mostly a chorus of boos. There are some people cheering. Danilo Gallinari, the 2008 EuroLeague Rising Star of the season last year, a 6'8", 210-pounder from Italy. Molto bene, molto bellissimo. That's my Italian, that's all I got. And remember, his father, Vittorio, played professional ball in Italy with Knicks head coach Mike D'Antoni. This is the 3rd international player ever selected by the Knicks in the 1st round. In 2002, they got Nene, and in 1999, they got Frederick Weiss. Fran Fraschilla, you are our international guru. What is it about this guy that tells you he can play?
Well, first of all, Stuart, he's got a toughness about him that you don't see with a young international player. And I understand the skepticism because I told Gallinari 2 weeks ago he would be booed, but he is a versatile scorer. He will not turn 20 years old until late August, and he's a guy that you can build a program around. He's not going to be a superstar, but he's going to be a very, very solid player for the Knicks. He's got the advantage of having a great feel for the game, and he's going to play for a coach in Mike D'Antoni who understands how to utilize this guy. Down the road, 3 or 4 years from now, the New York Knicks fans will be crowing about a guy whose nickname is the Rooster. Gallo means the Rooster, and I really think in time he could become like a Derek Jeter or a Kiki Barber in this town. You're going to have to wait a little bit for him, but I'll tell you, some people are so excited about this guy that Reebok has already made a shoe called the Rooster, and he's in a great town to sell a lot of shoes.
You know, you talked about him and you told him that he would be booed here. When he played with his team in Italy, you know, he was the youngest player in the team, but also the most popular player on that team. And of course, we mentioned the tie. There's already an Italian tie here in the Knicks. There you go, Mike D'Antoni and Vittorio Gallinari. How much do you think that's going to help him here, knowing that his coach is friends with his dad?
It won't matter in New York City. The bottom line is, can he get the job done? And if he does, they'll embrace him.
Stephen A. Smith is with the man right now. Mr. Gallinari, Stephen A., how's your Italian?
Well, Mr. Gallinari, I got to ask you the question. You hear the New York Knicks fans booing. Clearly, they are sleeping on you. What do you have to say to them so they can basically gain some faith in you?
I will have the team. I just like to win and play hard. And I will have the team to win. And New York is the best city in the world. So.
One of the things I want to ask you, your father was known as a defensive specialist. You're not known for that. You're known for putting the ball in the hole. What else can New York Knicks fans expect from you?
I can expect that I like to win and play hard, stay with my teammates and try just to win and help with my skills, with my offensive play or defensive play. I will try to help the team.
All right. Good luck. Stu, he's being booed, but he says he's ready. Back to you.
Thanks a lot, Stephen A. You know, the NBA player that Danilo most admires is not LeBron or Kobe or Dwayne Wade. It's actually Tayshaun Prince of the Pistons. Guys, what do you think of the Knicks pick here?
Well, for me, I don't know too much about this player, but I know the New York fan. And the New York fan will get behind any player that competes hard, that plays to win, and plays with an enthusiasm level that they can be proud of. So if that's what he brings to the table, it'll be different come opening night.
I like the way he handled himself. Don't get caught up in the people booing. They don't know you. The bottom line is when you lace them up, go out, get the job done, play with force and passion, and you will win this city over.
Yeah, as a talent, he's no different than taking a 19-year-old American kid. I mean, he's got a lot of talent and a lot of skill. Now, he needs to improve defensively. He's not a great athlete. Laterally, he's not particularly quick. But this young man can play. And if they handle him right, I mean, it's a lot on his shoulders because he's got to come in and be one of the best players over the next several years. But if you give him a couple years, I think he can be good.
This is the third straight year that an Italian player has been taken in the first round. On the clock now, the Los Angeles Clippers, the other team in LA. The most lottery picks ever? Well, it's the Clippers. This will be their 20th lottery pick. This will be their 19th lottery pick ever. Interestingly, you only have to go across town to find the team that has the fewest lottery picks in history. Of course, the Los Angeles Lakers. As for the Clippers, 15th losing season in the last 16 years, so they need a lot of help. Elton Brand only played 8 games. Sean Livingston missed the entire season. They need some help. Who do they have? Let's go to the commissioner.
With the 7th pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the LA Clippers select Eric Gordon from Indiana University.
Eric Gordon becomes the 5th freshman selected in the first 7 picks. Keep that in mind because the record for most freshmen in an entire draft is 8. That was set last year. The former Mr. Basketball in the state of Illinois, he was a 3rd-team All-American last year, 1st-team All-Big Ten. He's a big guard, 6'3", 222 pounds. And Jay Billis, he can shoot absolutely lights out from long range, can he?
Well, he's a pure scorer. Yeah, he's strong, he's explosive, he's explosive off the bounce and in transition, and he can really shoot it from deep. He shoots with ease from deep. He's only about 6'3.5", but he's got an elongated reach with a wingspan of about 6'9". He's a good individual defender on the ball. He doesn't handle it particularly well. He's not the type of guy that's ever going to play the point guard position. He is a scorer, pure and simple. And he had a wrist problem late in the season, which affected his productivity. But you know, this young man is a scorer. And if you put him on the floor and put his attention to scoring, he's not a great passer, and I think he turns the ball over at too high a rate. But man, he can score.
Well, yeah, with the Clippers, their 2-guard position with Coutinho Mobley, he's getting up there in age. So this is the perfect addition as far as they need some offensive input to go with Brand when he comes back, Maggette. They need guard help, and they got a guard.
Oh, he's a high-character kid, and when you look at the Clippers, they certainly needed help in the backcourt. And here's a guy that can play both backcourt positions and is going to be an upgrade.
All right, as I mentioned before, we've only had 7 picks, and already 5 of them are freshmen. Only 3 more to go to tie last year's record of total freshmen taken in the entire draft. Eric Gordon with Stephen A. Smith now.
Here, freshman of the year now, member of the Los Angeles Clippers. Got to ask you, how does that competition in the Big Ten, you believe, prepares you for the NBA level?
Well, it was basically the strength and, the physical toughness of the game. Big Ten is more of a grind-out game. Got big, strong physical guys, and I think it pretty much suits my toughness in NBA.
Now, I'm assuming you believe you can score from anywhere. And as I look at the Clippers roster, unless something happens and Livingston comes back healthy, they don't have a point guard. How are you going to help the team out because they need you badly?
Well, I just try to provide, what's best. If I need to play point guard or shooting guard, and I just got to see what the best situation fits me.
I'm telling you right now, Stuart, everybody up here thinks they can play point guard. I can't knock him, though. He's a bad man. Back to you, Stu.
Thanks a lot. This is the first time that an Indiana player has gone to the top 10 since Calbert Chaney went in 1993. The highest Knicks selection before tonight was number 5 back in 1986. That was Kenny Skywalker. Now they have a man named Danilo Gallinari. Wendy Knicks at Knicks headquarters with team president Donnie Walsh. Wendy?
Donnie, you've made your first pick with the New York Knicks. You told me yesterday you had your man. Today, you tell me you got your man. Why was Gallinari the right fit?
Well, I think he's an unusual package with his size. He's a great shooter, great ball handler. And we think he'll get bigger and stronger. And so, I think his different positions. And in today's NBA, I think that ability to shoot the ball from the outside, to put it on the floor, that's a big ability, particularly with somebody with this kind of size. I think he's going to be the kind of player that can bring a team together. And I think we need not just him, but other players like him to help us.
There's been a lot of speculation about this pick, particularly at the point. Are you done for the night?
Well, we don't know. We'll take whatever opportunities are out there if they're good ones. But this just begins the off season, so to speak. Then we go into free agency and a trading season. So, and the other part of it is we have to evaluate our own team under Mike D'Antoni. So there's a long summer ahead of us.
And at least Mike D'Antoni knows his father.
He knows him, played with him. So there is some familiarity here,
All right, Donnie, thank you very much. Good luck. Stu, back to you.
Thanks a lot. You heard them mention it. The Knicks do need help at point guard. Eric Gordon just went after Danilo Gallinari. You think they would have been better taking Gordon?
I'll tell you what, they'd be better taking a guy that can help them today, because this is New York City. They are not going to be patient 3 or 4 years down the road. This is a city and an organization starving for a product right now.
Well, I think Stephon Marbury is still a very, very good NBA point guard, so I don't believe they need point guard help. I think they need Marbury to play up to his potential. If he does that, they're going to have very good point guard play.
All right, speaking of very good, the Milwaukee Bucks, they weren't. Only 26 wins, their fewest since the 1995-1996 season. Milwaukee Bucks, what do they need? We'll find out. Commissioner David Stern with the Milwaukee Bucks pick.
With the 8th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Milwaukee Bucks select Joe Alexander from West Virginia University.
Joe Alexander, a guy who's just been shooting right up the draft boards in the last month. Now, the Bucks have not selected an American-born player in the first round since 2003. That was T.J. Ford. Alexander, he's not American-born either. Born in Taiwan. And Jay Billis, you say this guy is just a freak of an athlete, isn't he?
He is a freak of an athlete. He's got great spring in his legs. Just a big-time athlete that can shoot the ball from mid-range. He's kind of a face-up format. He can post up, but a lot of times his post-ups have been off weak-side pin-downs. But, he can put the ball on the deck. He's learning to use that freakish athleticism to get all the way to the rim and finish. In the second half of the season, there wasn't a better scorer in the country than Joe Alexander. He's got a great pull-up game. He can put the ball down on the floor, 1 or 2 dribbles, and he can rise up and shoot over. And he's got a good turnaround jumper in the post. Bob Huggins, I thought, used him really well. But, it's funny, Stu, I don't think any player, maybe other than Russell Westbrook at UCLA, rose up from last year to this year more than Joe Alexander did. I think he's going to have to work on his defense a little bit, moving his feet. One of the things that he benefited from in the Big East last year was he was guarded with a lot of mismatches, a lot of 4s, sometimes a 5 would guard him out on the perimeter. He took advantage of that. I think in the NBA he's going to be guarded by really athletic 4s and super athletic 3s, so that's going to be an adjustment. But he's got a ton of talent, and he works really hard, and he wants to be good.
You know, I mentioned he was born in Taiwan. Nobody ever born in Taiwan has ever played in the NBA, but he's not just born in Taiwan. His father's job with Nestle took them all over Asia. He spent parts of 8 years of his youth growing up in Asia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Beijing, and he speaks Mandarin. So, Stephen A., I've sent you an Italian. I'm sending you a guy who speaks Mandarin. How's your English?
I hope it's better than it needs to be, than it is right now. Let me tell you this. I got to ask you, Taiwan, Beijing, taught yourself playing one-on-one in your mama's kitchen. Some people out there want to know, how did you get to be as good as you are right now?
Well, what I did was just go out every day and work as hard as I could, and I was focused, and this is what I thought about every day, was being here.
Coach Bob Huggins, I spoke to him before the draft tonight. He says that, you know what, you're one of the hardest workers, if not the hardest worker he's ever had, but at the same time still got a lot to learn about the game of. You know the trade that the Milwaukee Bucks made today. What are you going to bring to the Milwaukee Bucks?
I'm going to bring toughness. I'm going to bring someone who is committed to the game and wants to win. And hopefully I'm going to bring a lot more wins to the Bucks. I can't wait to get there.
I guess you're saying Milwaukee should be happy to have you. You heard that, Stu. Back to you.
The reason why he's been shooting up the draft board, Stephen A., the first 27 games of last season, Alexander averaged 14 points per game, but after March 4th, he averaged 24 points per game, 4th in the nation. The Charlotte Bobcats are on the clock. That means Coach Larry Brown and a guy named Michael Jordan have a big decision to make. Who will they take? The Bobcats pick when we get back.
I think the only thing in your backyard that should get turned on is your barbecue. Want more thrills than life normally offers? Frank's Red Hot Buffalo Wing Sauce provides a restaurant-quality flavor that will thrill you in ways a sexy apron never can.
Movie star. Movie star. We should get some fresh air. Future Shop's having a sale.
Shotgun!
See what I'm saying? We should get out way more often.
It's the Future Shop Canada Day sale. Find all TVs, recorders, and laundry pairs on sale.
I think the only thing in your backyard that should get turned on is your barbecue. Want more thrills than life normally offers? Frank's Red Hot Buffalo Wing Sauce provides a restaurant-quality flavor that will thrill you in ways a sexy apron never can.
Welcome back to New York and the 2008 NBA Draft. Here's your draft track so far. Derrick Rose, a freshman, first pick to Chicago, going back to his hometown. Also, 5 freshmen in the first 7 picks. That is an NBA draft record, and since we're in New York, you got to highlight it. Danilo Gallinari from Italy. The Knicks take Gallinari with the 6th overall pick. The Charlotte Bobcats are now on the clock, a franchise that has never made the postseason. Where do you think they should go, guys?
Well, this is a team I think they need help, probably big. You know, they're solid all across the board at every position, but if I was Larry Brown and Michael Jordan, I'm going big.
Brook Lopez from Stanford as a center would be a steal right here at number 9. I mean, he's a big-time prospect, and he could really help Emeka Okafor up front.
Larry Brown is a Tar Heel. Michael Jordan is a Tar Heel. Two of the guys making the decisions. Larry Brown has coached basically everywhere. This is his 9th NBA team he's been the head coach of. He was a coach of 2 teams in college. In the ABA, he's a gypsy of coaching. But I will say this about him. He's the only guy ever who's won an NCAA championship as a coach and an NBA championship as a coach. The Charlotte Bobcats, their pick is in, and here's a commissioner.
With the 9th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Bobcats select DJ Augustine from the University of Texas.
Little bit of a shock here, maybe. Augustine, a first-team All-American and the Bob Cousy Award winner as the nation's top point guard. Brook Lopez, you know he has some emotion there. Jay Billis just said that he'd be a great pick right there. Charlotte decides not to go big. Instead, they go small. In fact, real small. DJ Augustine just 5'11", 172 pounds, but he scored 19 points per game and dished out almost 6 assists per game last season. He's the 5th guard taken in the top 10 picks. No center selected. Jay Billis, what do you think about DJ?
Well, I'd have DJ Augustine as the 2nd best point guard prospect in this draft behind Derrick Rose. And now Brook Lopez will make a great pick for New Jersey at 10. But I think this young man, he's so hard to stay in front of, and he's a shot maker. He can shoot the ball from the perimeter, and what I like, he's got great change of pace, great change of direction, and can shoot floaters and runners, and he can get shots off. I think he's better than TJ Ford.
Well, I think they needed a backup for Raymond Felton, so I think certainly that played into it. But I think a bigger issue is, what are they going to do with Gerald Wallace? Are they going to play him at the 4, or are they going to play him at the 3? His durability has been an issue for a guy who's been a very, very productive player for them.
Well, the tough part about it for me is I've been in this situation as a young point guard watching my team draft another young one in Rod Strickland. It's a tough situation if you're Raymond Felton or DJ Augustine.
Bobcats picked Raymond Felton with the 5th overall pick back in 2005. You said that they need to go big. Taking this pick here, what does that leave them as far as size? Because, you know, Sean May missed all of last season, and so did Adam Morrison, who isn't a big, but, you know, he's 6'8".
You know, you don't have to go big. Thought they might. I mean, they need a lot of things, but getting another point guard is not a bad thing. You can never have too many really good guards, and DJ Augustine's a really good guard. He's going to help them.
You know, you mentioned, and I mentioned, he's 5'11". His wingspan is 6'3½", so he might be short as far as NBA standards, but he plays big. Stephen A. Smith.
Yes, he does. No question about it. DJ Augustine, congratulations. First of all, I want to know how you're feeling right now, considering, I mean, the catastrophe that was Hurricane Katrina. It basically took everything away from you and your family but each other. What does it feel like right now to be sitting here today?
It feels great. You know, it feels even better because my family's here with me, you know, enjoying this moment. So I worked hard for it. I'm glad they're here to share it with me.
Now, how much are you looking forward on a basketball level to playing for Larry Brown? You know how tough his reputation is on point guards, and clearly that's why he drafted you. Probably to run his team someday soon.
He's a great coach, great organization. I'm very happy to go play there, and you know, I'm used to playing for tough coaches. Coach Barnes is a tough coach, and I'm ready to take on any challenge.
All right, you know you got some competition, right?
Yes, sir.
You know that, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Stu, you heard him. He said he's ready. Back to you.
This is the 3rd straight year a Texas player has been taken in the 1st round. Last year, of course, it was Kevin Durant, who went on to become the NBA Rookie of the Year. All right, the New Jersey Nets are on the clock. They are picking 10th. Jay, who you got available?
Well, Brook Lopez, for New Jersey, he makes a lot of sense because they do need size and they need toughness, and he brings some size, and he is a tough guy. He plays with a mean streak. Jared Bayless, the next best available, not only player, but point guard, and he is a little bit of a combo guard, but can play the point. And watch out also for Brandon Rush. I think Brandon Rush is going to be going sometime soon in this draft because of his ability to shoot the ball and how well he defends.
What do you guys think the Nets should do? I mean, remember, they traded away Jason Kidd. They just traded away Richard Jefferson. Where do you think they should go?
Well, I'm a guy that called over 100 Nets games the last 2 years. There's no help on the interior. They have to get tougher and more physical.
Well, there's no question. Kristich coming back off injury. Who knows where he's going to be health-wise? And then they have just a bunch of role players inside. They need low post scoring to complement Vince Carter and Devin Harris.
The Nets missed the playoffs for the first time since 2001. Last year, after trading Jason Kidd, they went 11-18 the rest of the year. You send away Jason Kidd, you send away Richard Jefferson, something in return. Remember, combined for almost 44 points per game last year. So, which direction will New Jersey go in? We are right across the river. Here's the commissioner.
With the 10th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the New Jersey Nets select Brook Lopez from Stanford University.
I'm so proud of you. I love you.
You saw Brook's twin brother, Robin Lopez, who played with him on the front line at Stanford. This is the first time the Nets are selecting in the top 10 since 2001. And Lopez, 7 foot, 258 pounds, becomes the first center selected in the 2008 draft. A first-team All-Pac-10, a third-team All-American. Boards, 8 rebounds a game last year, 19 points per team in both. Jay Billis, people weren't talking about him a lot 5-6 months ago, but you're real high on him. Why?
I am. I think he's strong. He is skilled. He plays bigger than he's listed. His arms stretch out to 7'5". He makes his free throws. He plays mean. And it's funny, Stu, he averaged over 19 points last year, just under 10 rebounds. Fluff in those numbers because he missed the first semester. All of his games came against Pac-10 and NCAA tournament competition. I mean, he played against the best competition and put up numbers night in, night out. He's only 19 years old. He's younger than O.J. Mayo. He can block shots. I mean, he is really, really strong. The one knock on him, he's not a great athlete. You know, in Orlando, he did not test out well. So if you're going to put together a 4x100 meter relay team, don't draft him. If you want a basketball player, he is a good basketball player 5-on-5. He's not going to be a workout guy. I'll tell you what, I think he's going to get better and better. I really like Brook Lopez and the way he plays, and I think that New Jersey got an absolute steal. They had to wear a mask for this one because they stole a really good center prospect.
Well, you're talking about the New Jersey Nets as far as I'm concerned. Their best post player last year was Vince Carter, who's a perimeter guy. So they upgraded there. They have a big-time post player, a guy that can be a presence in the paint for them for a long time to come.
You know, once Brook's twin brother Robin Lopez gets selected, they'll be the third set of active twins in the NBA. Jason and Jerron Collins, Joey and Stephen Graham. We had joked that, you know, when Brook was taken, Robin should go up and see if Commissioner Stern would know the difference, except that, you know, Brook's hairstyle is really, really conservative, while Robin's, Doris Burke, as you know now, is it's out there.
Yeah, there's no mistaking Robin, no question about that, Stu. And Robin, you were close enough, tight enough to Stanford. As you watch such a big part of your life go up there and shake Commissioner Stern's hands, your thoughts were what?
It's great to have a guy, you know, out of my hair. But seriously, they really picked up a steal at number 10.
They've described him as a little bit of a mean streak. Your description of your brother is?
He's a really big mean streak.
I like that. They've got a terrific pick. Your emotions as your turn.
I just can't wait. It's been kind of got a picture of what's going to look like when I go up. When Brook went up there to shake the commissioner's hand, I just can't wait for myself to be up there.
All right. Especially with your brother.
Brooks Lopez. You're 7 feet, about 250. You got a mean streak. You seem to have all the ingredients. I want to know, how surprised are you that it took you this long to get picked?
You know, I worked out for a couple teams. I did what I could. You know, I put my best foot forward. So I knew it wasn't up to me anymore. You know, I did all I could, and so I in here, you know, waiting to get picked.
All right, considering all the things I just said, what are the New Jersey Nets getting in Brook Lopez?
You know, I think they're getting a guy who's coachable, who's willing to do whatever's required. I've been really trying to emulate my brother's game lately, play defense, clog the paint, block shots, rebound, and just play a hard game.
Really?
Yeah.
So the New Jersey Nets should be a playoff team this year because of you.
I'm not going to say it. I don't know. That's what you said.
I tried. Back to you, Stu.
Well, Steve, if Brook had said they'd be a playoff team, I believe him, because when he was in 2nd grade, he announced that he would attend Stanford and play basketball, and he would play in the NBA. So looks like he knows something. Hey, the New Jersey Nets having a pretty good day today. They just got Brook Lopez, and earlier they had a trade, sent Richard Jefferson to Milwaukee in exchange for Bobby Simmons and last year's 6th overall pick, E. Jin Lien. Guys, real quickly, what do you think about this trade and the addition of Brook Lopez?
Well, I really like it. This is a team that was home early because they weren't physical enough. And mentally, they were very fragile. They upgrade with E, and also with this draft choice of Lopez, a presence in the paint.
Well, to me, it signals a big change for New Jersey. Just last year, Jason Kidd gone. Now Richard Jefferson gone. They're going through a whole rebuilding process, and they're doing it their way, and they're going with size and strength inside.
All right, the Indiana Pacers are on the clock. We're going to find out where they're going. Indiana's picking 11. They picked 11th once before. It was Reggie Miller in 1987. Here's the commissioner.
With the 11th pick in the 2008 NBA draft, Pacers select Jared Bayless from the University of Arizona.
You know, there are people who have said that the Pac-10 is not a real basketball conference. Really? Bayless is the 5th Pac-10 player selected in the top 11. He's also the 6th freshman selected. That ties the most ever in the lottery, and we're only picks in. Bayless, a 6'3", 204-pound guard from Arizona. Second team All Pac-10. Jay Bayless, he averaged 19 points per game and 4 assists per game. And this is a class that had a whole lot of good guards in it.
Yeah, I like Jared Bayless a lot. I don't consider him a true point guard, but he's a scoring point guard and can play that position. He's got a really good work ethic. I mean, we've talked about players that want to be good. He wants to be good. I mean, he gets to the gym early and he leaves late, and he puts his time in to improving his game. Very good off the bounce. He's a really good shooter from the perimeter. He can pull up. He reminds me sort of a young Chauncey Billups because he's got strength. I don't think he's a true point, as I said before, but I think he can mature into learning the position and playing the position and doing it well. He needs to be a better rebounder from the guard spot, but played in a difficult situation last year without his head coach, didn't have a whole lot of talent to play with, had to play off the ball at times when Nick Wise took over as the point guard. I think Jared Bayless is a solid pick here, and I think Indiana pretty fortunate that a talent like this fell to them at 11.
Well, for me, too, when I look at it, they've got a guard glut now with T.J. Ford coming to them in a trade. They got Tinsley still there. To me, Jim O'Brien and the Pacers want to play fast, so they've got quickness at the guard position, but what do they do with the glut of guards that they've now acquired?
Well, Larry Bird said it earlier today. Hey, I have a point guard for sale. Obviously, Jamal Tinsley is a guy that's on the move, but I love this pick because Bayless is a guy that can score and score in bunches.
Here's the trade, the proposed trade that Jeff mentioned. Jermaine O'Neal to Toronto, and in exchange, Indiana, they get T.J. Ford, Rasho Nesterovic, and Maceo Baston. And yes, there is a gluttony of guards there, but I don't know. I think it's only one guard, Stephen A., among their team now that shot a hole-in-one at the age of 10 years old, and I think that was Jared Bayless.
I think it's Mr. Smooth. Congratulations, and got to ask you, you look at the Indiana Pacers right now, you hear a lot of people talking about you're a guard, you're skilled, but at the same time there are questions about whether or not you're a point guard on the NBA level. How do you respond to that?
You know, I feel like I can play any position what the coach tells me to do. And, you know, the coaching staff tells me they want me to play point guard in Indiana, I'm going to do it. If they tell me they want me to play off the ball a little bit, I'm going to do that too. So whatever the situation calls to be, I'm going to do it.
Trade being proposed right now, probably in its final stages. T.J. Ford's going to be in Indiana. So obviously he's a point guard in this league with some experience. How are you looking forward to going up and competing for the point guard spot potentially against him?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. You know, he's a great player, and, you know, we're teammates now. So I guess we're going to have to figure a way to make it work out.
What you bring? Let me know they ain't make the postseason. How you gonna help that? How you gonna help them change that?
You know, I'm just gonna give them my best effort. You know, if that helps them make them the postseason, hopefully it'll help do it. But you know, never know, and I'm hoping I can do that though.
That says it all. Back to you, Stu.
Thanks a lot. A lot of Arizona guards have been drafted in the past. Andre Iguodala, Jason Terry, Gilbert Arenas, Mike Bibby. Hey, we're only 11 picks in. We still got a whole lot here more to go from the WAMU Theater in Madison Square Garden. It is a 2008 NBA draft.
Hi, I'm Michael Beasley.
And I'm Derrick Rose.
And you're watching the 2008 NBA Draft on ESPN.
I was hot. Movie star. Movie star. We should get some fresh air.
Future Shop's having a sale.
Shotgun!
See what I'm saying? We should get out way more often.
Canada Day sale. Find all TVs, digital cameras, camcorders, and laundry pairs on sale.
The all-new 2008 Suzuki SX4 sedan. It's rally-inspired.
Back at the 2008 NBA Draft presented by Sprite, the Sacramento Kings are on the clock. Their pick is in. This is a team that is in the lottery back-to-back years for the first time in a decade. Kevin Martin, 23 points per game. He needs some help. David Stern, who's it going to be?
With the 12th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Sacramento Kings select Jason Thompson from Rider University. Jason is not here.
Jason is not here, but he is a 6'11", 250-pound senior, and he goes number 12, which is tied for the lowest first senior ever selected, Jay Billis.
A little bit of a surprise, but Jason Thompson is a really solid player. He's a very good passer, has a good feel for the game. He can block shots. He rebounds with both hands and rebounds out of his area. Does a pretty good job of running the floor. Not a great athlete, but really was impressed with his ability to face up, knock shots down. He's strong, just solid. Nothing spectacular about his game. He is just solid, and I really like his instincts. You know, his dad's a referee. He was only 6 feet tall as a freshman, but as he got old, he learned how to play the guard position growing up, and then as he blossomed and got bigger, then all of a sudden he had big man skills and guard skills as well. So a solid prospect.
And I mentioned it ties a record for the lowest first senior ever taken. Back in 2002, the first senior did. Melvin Eli also at the 12th pick. Last year, AC Law went at number 11. As for Jason Thompson, his younger brother Ryan is already, he's on the basketball team now at Rider. How much does this pick surprise you?
Well, it's very surprising when you're talking about taking a big guy out of Rider. The concern for me is last year's pick was Spencer Hawes, another big guy, so sort of like a duplicate pick. But I will give credit to Reggie Theus and the job that he did turning this environment around in Sacramento.
Yeah, and Jeff Petrie has proven himself to be an outstanding judge of talent. He has a strong belief system in drafting skill and versatility. They've done that here again with this player. That's what he's trying to aim for with this pick.
And what you get is a guy who's ready to come in and play right away. And Jason Thompson has a great motor. I mean, he really goes after. He's a really good offensive rebounder. I think there's a little bit of a question. I mean, he got tired at times during games last year, especially in the MAC tournament, and watched him play up there. But last summer, he was terrific. He was one of the best big guys at the LeBron James Nike Skills Academy, and was just, he stood out for being so solid in every area. So he can step in and play right away.
He's a senior. He's majoring in communications. He wants to be a TV sports anchor when he, gets out of college. In a related news, Jason will host round 2 of the draft here. Kidding. Not. The Portland Trail Blazers are on the clock. They have been real busy. A lot of picks in the last 2 years. Where are they going now? Let's find out.
Right now, Proactive Solution has good news if you have a difficult pimple or sudden breakout and are looking for relief. Because when you order now, you'll get the exclusive refining mask free with your 3-piece kit. Just a dab, and the mask is designed to zap problems. It's fast. It's dramatic. Instead of hoping for an answer, use the mask and you've got it.
Treatment sometimes. I put it on in the evening before I go to bed, and I was happy with how it made my skin look, and that's a good feeling.
I use the refining mask, and people starting to compliment me on my skin, and I was sold. That's what I tell people. It's like my little skincare army.
Call now and order Proactive Solution to help clear your acne and help prevent future breakouts. Proactive is the #1 best-selling acne system in America, with over 10 million customers around the world.
I enjoy life more. I get out there and I do the things that I want to be doing without having to worry about the way that I look.
And now you'll save 50% on Proactive for just $19.95 Canadian. That's right, Proactive is now available in Canadian dollars.
Proactive's really, changed my life. It's changed the way people see me, and every hour of the day I'm thinking.
You'll have the refining mask to zap problems. It's fast, as it helps revitalize the look of your skin.
For on-the-spot pimple control, I use the refining mask. Just a little dab, that's all you need.
It's a Proactive exclusive, and it's yours free when you order the Proactive kit at 50% off.
I use the mask over my full face just so that I can make sure everything's even. It's great.
Order in the next 3 minutes, and you can have the refining mask at no charge. It's Proactive's hottest product, and it's part of Proactive's best offer.
I can tell it works, I know it works, and it's definitely my favorite product.
Don't just dream of clear, beautiful skin. Make it real. Order Proactive now. Just call 1-800-357-7809.
It just makes you feel so good.
Next up, the Portland Trail Blazers picking 13th. They had the #1 overall pick last year. 13th this year. They picked up Greg Oden last year. Who's it going to be this year? Commissioner David Stern with the pick.
With the 13th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Portland Trail Blazers select Brandon Rush from the University of Kansas.
Rush makes it a family affair in the NBA. His brother Kareem Rush plays with the Pacers. First team All Big 12 this past season. Brandon, a 6'6", 210-pound guard, averaged 13 points and 5 rebounds per game. Now, he joins a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 5 years, the longest streak in the NBA. But Jay Billis, he joins a team that's got a lot of young talent on it.
There's no question. I mean, Portland values players like Brandon Rush. I really thought that Darrell Arthur of Kansas would go before Rush did, but Brandon Rush is a really good prospect. He's very athletic. He can shoot it. I mean, he understands how to play, and he's got a smoothness to his game, but he can shoot it from deep. He can put the ball on the deck, 1 or 2 dribbles to either side and pull up, and he's a very good perimeter defender. And that's one of the things I like best about him is he can guard multiple positions. Came back off of a knee injury that he had last year. He put his name into the draft last year, injured his knee, then went back to school and had an absolutely spectacular season in helping his team win the national championship. The only question mark you have with Brandon is his assertiveness. Oftentimes he is deferred, but I thought after the Kansas State game at Fog Allen last year, he really ratcheted that up and started looking for a shot. I know that Bill Self used to really get on him about passing up shots, but with his defensive ability, his ability to shoot the ball, Trailblazers.
And I think the Trailblazers had a miraculous year last year after losing Oden. I thought Nate McMillan did a tremendous job getting the most out of that team, getting them to 500.
Yeah, this is the 3rd time that he actually declared for the NBA draft. He declared out of high school. He declared a couple of years ago. This time it rings true, and he is with Stephen A. Smith now.
Yes, he is. I mean, national champion, and now you're being drafted by the Portland Trailblazers. Looking forward to playing with Brandon Rush. Greg Oden, I want to know your thoughts about that.
Greg Oden's a great player. I'm waiting to see him get back on the court and do his thing, and I hope the best for him.
As you look at the Portland Trailblazers roster with you in the lineup, what do you think you guys can do next year, not 10 years from now?
I think next year we got a loaded squad, and we got some good players, and I just want to come in and help the team win some kind of way.
Politically correct answer, Stu. Why am I not surprised? This is go. Back to you.
Tell you what, Stephen A., he can shoot the three-pointer, 44% for his career. All right, the surprise of the draft right now, the Sacramento Kings at 12 picked Jason Thompson. ESPN.com senior writer Andy Katz joins now. Andy, why Thompson?
Well, I just spoke with head coach Reggie Theus of the Sacramento Kings, and he said, quite frankly, he was the best big man we worked out. He said that they brought him into Sacramento twice. They also watched him down at Golden State. He said they desperately need help around the basket, and they thought Thompson can deliver for the Kings.
He's only the 2nd Rider player ever to be selected. Craig Sisson in 1968 was the first. All right, the Golden State Warriors are on the clock. Key free agents for Golden State as we take a look at it right now. You know, there's a lot of talk that Baron Davis might be gone. He has an early termination option. Monte Ellis is restricted, but he supposedly is the guy that Golden State will not part with. Matt Barnes, Michael Petrius. Guys, what do you think they should do with this pick, the Warriors?
Well, I had an opportunity to talk to Chris Mullin a couple of days ago. He said, hey, where we're drafting, there's going to be a lot of guys available. Somebody's going to drop to us, and we're going to get a quality player. I expect this team to go big and versatile.
Well, and I think for them, they've got a lot of financial decisions to make. Do you keep Baron Davis? What do you do with Monte Ellis? How much do you pay him? Pietrus, Kalena Azubuike. They just have a lot of decisions financially to make, which shapes who they pick.
If you go big and versatile, the next guy on my board would be Anthony Randolph, the lefty from LSU, who is big and versatile. He's just really young and really thin.
You know, they were 48-34 last year. If they were playing in the Eastern Conference, they would have finished 4th and had home court advantage. Instead, they're in the West, and they go to the lottery. In the lottery, they get their pick right now. Here is the commissioner, David Stern, with the 14th overall pick.
With the 14th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Golden State Warriors select Anthony Randolph from Louisiana State University.
Golden State goes big, and they go young. Randolph is the 7th freshman selected. That's the most ever in the lottery, and it will remain a record for a while because this is the last pick in the lottery in 2008. A 3rd-team All-SEC member. Randolph, 15 points per game, 8 rebounds per game. Remember last year Florida had a slew of players selected? This is the first SEC player selected in the draft. Jay Billis, what do you think of the big man?
6'10", a lefty, A 7'3" wingspan, considerable linear extent in space with those arms that go forever. He's painfully thin, and he needs to get a lot stronger physically. I mean, he is so thin, he weighs 197 pounds. I mean, he makes Brandon Wright of Golden State look like Mr. America. But he needs to put some weight on and get a lot stronger, but there's no denying he has got skills. I mean, he can face up, he puts the ball on the floor, he can score, he can block shots, he rebounds. It's just a question of learning how to play at the highest level. He was not as productive against the best teams that they played, and there were some bigger guys in the SEC that really got into his body, so he's going to have to learn the game, but there's no denying his talent. Anthony Randolph is a very, very talented young prospect.
I mentioned that this is the record for the most freshmen ever picked. Set the record for the most freshmen picked in the draft. We're 14 picks in, and we already have 7 picks. Stephen A. is with the young Anthony Randolph.
Well, you hear what they're saying about you. You're long, you're athletic, you can shoot, you can score, you can play, but you need to hit the weights. What do you have to say to people that look at you and just say that?
Oh, I'm stronger than what you think. If you watch any of my games, I guarded the biggest and strongest player on every team, and I did good. I held my own.
So with that being said, what can everybody expect in the Bay Area with you with the Golden State Warriors? I mean, they led the league in offense last year, 111 points a game.
Oh, I expect to come in and contribute wherever I'm asked to contribute. I mean, I love blocking shots, and I also can score.
Basically, Stuart, he's saying he's not about to ride the bench. There you go. Oh, no. Back to you.
Also, Stephen, interesting to see such a young guy who is so confident in his abilities. You ask him, what's he going to do? And he said, hey, you saw me in college. I guarded the biggest, strongest guy on the other team. The NBA draft lottery part is over. A lot of interesting things going on. Dick Vitale joins us again. Hey, Dickie V, how many PT peers do you see out there, baby?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Stuart, and looking at the draft, certainly you don't need a doctorate of hoopology and go to Harvard to figure out the first 3 picks. I mean, they were lock city, all the drama, all the so-called speculation. It was over, baby, when you talk Rose, Beasley, and O.J. Mayo. The draft really started at number 4, and I'm kind of shocked. You talk about potential. Certainly Westbrook's a kid with a lot of potential. Athlete, a kid that really a combination guard. But I look at that selection, I cannot believe they passed up on Kevin Love. You can always find some guards later, but a guy like Love, they got 6 picks in his draft. You put Love, Durant, and Green across the front line. Now Seattle's really got something special. I think they're going to really regret not taking Kevin Love. I also look at the draft, New York. I heard you guys talk about it, Jay, Jeff, and Mark, and I couldn't agree more. You talk about potential. Gallinari. I remember hearing all these rave reviews about a guy named Milicic, and I said, you know, he did a great job in all those one-on-one. You shoot around, you stand there, you post up, you look so impressive. The game is 5-on-5. I said that night, some people ridiculed me for it. I said, I don't know Milicic, but I know Carmelo Anthony, and they're making a mistake. I'll tell you right now, Gallinari, D'Antoni, sounds like a great Italian restaurant in New York. I think it'll be super, but as Mark Jackson said, you better be able to play. I'll tell you right now, they bypassed on guys like Bayless, Augustine, guys that can play immediately. Even a guy like Brook Lopez as well. So I think when I look at the draft, some surprises. Jason Thompson, I salute those guys. Reggie Theus, Reggie, get a multi-year contract, baby, from the Maloof brothers, because that's truly potential, potential, potential. And you don't want the next guy to step in 5 years later and reap the benefits of that potential. They're telling me to wrap up. They're giving me no more time. I got to get out of here, Stuart. Back to you.
Dickie V, you really need to work on kind of coming out of your shell a little bit. It's TV. It's okay to have just a little bit of enthusiasm. The NBA draft lottery is over. 7 freshmen. Jay Billis, who's your best available right now?
You know, mostly big guys. Darrell Arthur is still available. You got Robin Lopez. You got Maurice Spates. Costa Koufas from Ohio State, who I think is a terrific prospect. And when you get down to the guards, it's Chris Douglas-Roberts and Mario Chalmers from Kansas if you're going smaller.
All right. Now it's time for the teams who made the playoffs, including the Phoenix Suns, who went 18-11 with Shaquille O'Neal after the trade. David Stern has the pick.
With the 15th pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the Phoenix Suns select Robin Lopez from Stanford University.
Brooke Lopez went 10th. Twin brother Robin Lopez goes 15th. And the last time the Suns picked 15th, they selected a halfway decent player back in 1996, fella from Canada by the name of Steve Nash, two-time NBA Most Valuable Player. Robin Lopez, the lesser-known Lopez twin, but he is the 6th Pac-10 player selected in this draft. You know his brother's credentials, Jay Billis. What are his?
Well, he's more defensive-oriented than his brother, and he has bigger hair. But he's big, strong. He's an athletic shot blocker and rebounder. He's got big hands. And he's an improved offensive player. He's got a little left shoulder jump hook, and he's learning to use his left more often around the basket. And I think what's interesting, Stu, about Robin Lopez, I think he's going to be better away from his brother as a player because he's going to be a little bit more assertive. And toward the end of the season, I thought he was really asserting himself more offensively and starting to come into his own. He's got pretty good feet, led the Pac-10 in block shots. He's going to bring defense. He's going to bring rebounding. He's going to bring energy. Even though right now he is limited offensively, I think he's going to continue to get better. So he's a solid player. You know what you're going to get, and then you've also got some potential for him to get better on the offensive end.
As we mentioned before, this will be the third set of active twins in the NBA. Jeff Van Gundy, how do you think he's going to play away from his brother?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but I do know this. This pick shows you a shift in philosophy by Steve Kerr, going to more defensive-oriented players to try to get more of a balance to their team.
7 feet tall, playing alongside Shaquille O'Neal, who's 7'1". But of course, it always goes back to mom in Doris Burke.
Yes, I've got Deborah with me, and Deborah, 2 sons in the top 15 of this draft. What were the feelings? How much anxiety over both selections? How much joy now that they're both gone?
Oh, there's a tremendous amount of joy because the New Jersey Nets are an outstanding organization, and Robin's dream was to play with the Phoenix Suns, and his dream has come true. So I'm just thrilled.
Congratulations. We'll send it over to Stephen A., who's standing by with Robin.
Thanks a lot, Doris. You know, a lot of people saying, you heard Jay Billis say, hey, you're playing away from your brother. That might be a good thing for you. How do you feel? Your brother's in New Jersey, you're all the way in Phoenix, Arizona.
I couldn't be happier. Now I'm going to miss the guy, but I mean, we knew it was gonna, we were gonna have to separate at some point, and I mean, our lives were actually taking a turn for the better.
Now we know the Phoenix Suns can score points. They need some help defensively. What are you gonna do about that?
I'm gonna play defense. I'm gonna be an interior force. I'm gonna rebound, try block shots, and I think most importantly, I'm gonna bring intensity.
Stuart Scott, you know how I feel about boldness. The man is bold. Back to you.
It's a family full of athletes. Their brother Alex played basketball for Washington and Santa Clara, and their mom, also an athlete in her own right. The Philadelphia 76ers are on the clock. We are halfway through the first round. The city of brotherly love up next when we get back.
Proactive Solution has good news if you have a difficult pimple or sudden breakout and are looking for relief. Because when you order now, you'll get the exclusive refining mask free with your 3-piece kit. Just a dab, and the mask is designed to zap problems. It's fast. It's dramatic.
I put it on in the evening before I go to bed, and I was happy with how it made my skin look. That's a good feeling.
I can tell it works, I know it works, and it's definitely my favorite product.
Call now and order Proactive Solution to help clear your acne and help prevent future breakouts. And now you'll save 50% on Proactive, just $19.95 Canadian. That's right, Proactive is now available in Canadian dollars.
For on-the-spot pimple control, I use the refining mask. Just a little dab, that's all you need.
It's Proactive's hottest product, and it's part of Proactive's best offer. So don't just dream of clear, beautiful skin, make it real. Order now by calling the number on your screen or order online at proactivesolution.ca.
Passers, shooters, dribblers, come out and show your game at this year's tournament. Sign up and get exclusive 3-on-3 gear and compete for cash prizes. Enter early for your chance to win a trip to NBA Europe Live 2008, sponsored by EA Sports. Register now. By Rogers.
The NBA cares about the community. This week, the NBA, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Boys and Girls Club of Camden County teamed up to host a special NBA Cares All Sports Day. Hosted by Camden native and Nets part owner Louis Katz, more than 300 club members participated in a variety of sports activities, while also learning about the importance of education and also the importance of setting goals.
All the kids are so excited.
It's just as good a day as I can ever remember in the city of Camden, and we're so grateful to the NBA.
The NBA, where caring happens. The 76ers finished strong last year, finishing 22-12 in their last 34 games. The commissioner, David Stern, has their pick after losing in the first round to the Pistons. Here's the commissioner.
With the 16th pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Maurice Spates from the University of Florida. Maurice is not here.
Spates is the fourth first-round pick from Florida in the last 2 years. Remember, last year there was a bevy of Gators: Al Horford, Corey Brewer, Joakim Noah. Jay Billis, what do you like about this big man?
He's a big-time talent. He's got size, he's got athleticism, mobility. He is very, very gifted offensively. He can face up and shoot the ball. He can move his feet. He's got good post moves. From a talent standpoint, he's right up there with just about any big guy in this draft. He did not dominate anybody in the Southeastern Conference, but at the same time, he didn't get dominated either in any one game. What I think is interesting about Spates is he's been criticized for not pushing through tired. It's been called conditioning, but he doesn't know where his limit is, and he needs to push himself past that limit. And the question is, can he do that? What kind of motor does he have inside of that body of his? And when he pushes himself past his limits, I think he's got a lot of potential. He can be a very, very good player in the NBA.
This guy can shoot. He shot 62% from the field. That's 9th in the NBA. When we get back, we'll take a look north of the border. Oh, Canada. The Toronto Raptors are on the clock with the 17th pick. A proposed trade to the Pacers, though.
A clown! I thought this was a battleground, not a birthday party.
He's not a clown. He's a man.
We have chosen this ground to settle for good and all who will hold power over this bud. Hot wings, popping with flavor.
Oh, oui, tasty blue cheese, sharp like a knife.
Oh, be swift, my chicken.
On go!
New Doritos Collisions. 2 flavors, 1 bag.
The 2008 Suzuki Grand Vitara has won a Gold Key Award for Best New Compact SUV 2 years in a row. It comes standard with 4-wheel drive, automatic climate control, power windows, locks and mirrors, ABS, speed sensing volume control, keyless entry, 5-year unlimited roadside assistance, and it's also got an available 5-speed automatic transmission. So test drive a loaded Suzuki Grand Vitara today and get 0% purchase financing for 72 months OAC.
Proactive Solution has good news if you have a difficult pimple or sudden breakout and are looking for relief. Because when you order now, you'll get the exclusive refining mask free with your 3-piece kit. Just a dab, and the mask is designed to zap problem zits fast. It's dramatic.
I put it on in the evening before I go to bed, and I was happy with how it made my skin look. That's a good feeling.
I can tell it works, I know it works, and it's definitely my favorite product.
Call now and order Proactive Solution to help clear your acne and help prevent future breakouts. And now you'll save 50% on Proactive, just $19.95 Canadian. That's right, Proactive is now available in Canadian dollars.
For on-the-spot pimple control, I use the refining mask. Just a little dab, that's all you need.
It's Proactive's hottest product, and it's part of Proactive's best offer. So don't just dream of clear, beautiful skin, make it real. Order now by calling the number on your screen or order online at proactivesolution.ca.
Here's TJ Ford. That is worth the price of admission. Counted and a foul. And the little engine bringing the energy.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series Camping World RV Sales 200 at New Hampshire is on ABC Saturday. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Back here in the WAMU Theater at Madison Square Garden, the Raptors have the pick now, the 17th pick, but they're actually picking for Indiana because of the proposed trade. Toronto getting Jermaine O'Neal in exchange for TJ Ford, Rasho Nesterovic, and Maceo Baston, and this 17th overall pick. So again, Toronto making the pick. Indiana, pending league approval, gets the benefit. Here is NBA Commissioner David Stern.
With the 17th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Toronto Raptors select Roy Hibbert from Georgetown University. Roy is not here.
Again, Roy Hibbert, picked by Toronto, likely going to Indiana because of the proposed trade. He is a big man, 7'2", 278 pounds. What's the best thing about him, Jay Billis?
Well, his size and his skill level. He has really improved over the course of 4 years under John Thompson III. He can make a hook shot. He's got a little turnaround jumper in the post. He can finish. He does a solid job and is a good passer out of the post. The problem is he doesn't really change ends, and as far as shot blocking, he has a hard time moving his feet to get there to block a shot. I mean, if a guy drives right into him, he blocks it. But you know what you're getting with Roy Hibbert. He's going to be really, really solid. And I wouldn't expect he knocked this shot down to win a game against UConn. I wouldn't expect him to do that a lot in the NBA, but solid prospect.
Well, to me, it's a surprise pick when you talk about the Pacers getting rid of Jermaine O'Neal. Obviously, they had to go big. The concern with Hibbert is getting up and down the floor. Versatility is a concern. They are going to have to find a way to play around that.
Well, they needed to add a low post scorer, though, and Hibbert has been efficient in the low post. They needed that scoring with O'Neal gone.
Roy Hibbert, he was nicknamed the Big Stiff when he first got to Georgetown. His coach John Thompson III, excuse me, finally shed that label with him. There's just one guy left in the green room, one guy who has been on Jay's best available. Darrell Arthur, the forward from Kansas University. Is he nervous? Where's he going to go? We're coming back. The Washington Wizards are on the clock at 18.
Proactive Solution has good news if you have a difficult pimple or sudden breakout and are looking for relief. Because when you order now, you'll get the exclusive refining mask free with your 3-piece kit. Just a dab, and the mask is designed to zap problems. It's fast. It's dramatic.
I put it on in the evening before I go to bed, and I was happy with how it made my skin look. That's a good feeling.
I can tell it works, I know it works, and it's definitely my favorite product.
Call now and order Proactive Solution to help clear your acne and help prevent future breakouts. And now you'll save 50% on Proactive, just $19.95 Canadian. That's right, Proactive is now available in Canadian dollars.
For on-the-spot pimple control, I use the refining mask. Just a little dab, that's all you need.
It's Proactive's hottest product, and it's part of Proactive's best offer. So don't just dream of clear, beautiful skin, make it real. Order now by calling the number on your screen or order online at proactivesolution.ca.
Movie star. We should get some fresh air.
Future Shop's having a sale.
Shotgun! See what I'm saying? We should get out way more often.
It's the Future Shop Canada Day sale. Find all TVs, digital cameras, camcorders, and laundry pairs on sale.
I think the only thing in your backyard that should get turned on is your barbecue. Want more thrills than life normally offers? Frank's Red Hot Buffalo Wing Sauce provides a restaurant-quality flavor that will thrill you in ways a sexy apron never can.
We're all in the back, just in case we don't get picked, you know. They turn the lights off back here. They'll never know you're here. Oh, this is so boring. Brian just sent me a text message saying, sit up straight, you're on TV. They keep having it on me. I'm gonna be like, what's his name? I'm gonna be like Brady Quinn. Who's the management for New Jersey? Who's the Thornton? Kiki Vanderway? Yeah. Coach is Lawrence. Frank?
Yeah. It must be the good looks.
Oh, it is, right?
That was Brooke Lopez, who went 10th to New Jersey. His twin brother, Robin Lopez, went 15th to Phoenix. We now bring in new Phoenix head coach Terry Porter. Terry, you guys have had 4 straight 50-plus win seasons, but disappointment in the postseason. What's Robin going to add to your team?
Well, Robin's going to bring somebody who can defend at the defensive end, his ability to block shots, his energy. So we're very excited about adding him to our roster.
How do you think he's going to fare with Shaquille O'Neal, 2 real bigs down low?
I think he's going to fit well. I think Shaq is going to kind of take him under his wing, teach him a little bit about the NBA game, and he's going to learn a lot from Shaq. But his ability to learn under another big like Shaq and Amari, guys who've had a lot of success in this league, is going to help him as far as learn what this league is all about and how to defend bigs and just some little tricks of the trade. I think both of them can definitely give him some insight to.
All right, Terry Porter, we appreciate it. Congratulations on being the new coach. Now we move to the 18th pick, the Washington Wizards. Commissioner David Stern with the team that keeps making the playoffs but can't seem to win a postseason series. Here's David.
With the 18th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select JaVale McGee from the University of Nevada. JaVale is not here.
JaVale McGee, a 7-foot, 241-pounder from Nevada. Now here is maybe one of the most interesting nuggets about this entire draft. His mother, Pamela, was an All-American player at USC and later played in the WNBA. So this will be the first time ever that there is a WNBA NBA legacy, the first mother-son WNBA NBA legacy. Jay Billis, what do you think about this youngster?
Well, he's got an incredible wingspan. He's 7 foot tall. His wingspan is 7'6", so he can really stretch out. His arms go forever. Very talented. He's got good shot mechanics. He can step away and hit. A little soft turnaround jumper, and he uses the glass very well. He needs to move his feet a little bit better, but he's got a lot of potential. I mean, he can get better, but he needs to learn the game, and he needs to learn how to make the easy play a little bit more. Another year in school would have benefited him, but clearly he was ready to come out because it's a top 20 pick.
His dad, George, was also the 39th overall pick in the 1985 NBA draft, but he never actually played in the NBA. We have some more news. We have ESPN senior writer Rick Bucher joining us now. Rick, what's the latest on this draft night?
You knew that the Portland Trail Blazers were not going to go quietly. They have made a deal. They acquire Ike Diagu and Jared Bayless from the Indiana Pacers for Brandon Rush and Jarrett Jack.
All right, here's the proposed trade. Remember, it's proposed pending league approval. The league lawyers have to analyze to make sure all the contracts match up either under the salary cap or even match up above the salary cap. Indiana gets Jarrett Jack and the rights to Brandon Rush, who is the 13th overall pick here. In exchange, Portland gets Jared Bayless, the 11th overall pick in 2008. Mark, who gets a better end of this deal?
Well, I think both teams really did a good job. You talk about Indiana, they did a good job because you get a backcourt. You get Jarrett Jack, a proven guy. You know what you're going to get. You get Brandon Russ, a guy that can play the 2 to 3 position. If you're Portland, it shows that they really love Bayless and the way that he can play the backcourt position, a guy that can play immediately.
And I like Ike Diagu. I think he's been underutilized throughout his career. I think he can score efficiently in the low post. He can rebound. He's a little bit undersized, doesn't defend particularly well, but he's a big-time scorer, and that I think will help Portland with his back-to-the-basket game.
And Diagu can hit a face-up shot and play alongside Greg Oden. And Bayless is going to be a really good player because he can score.
You know, here's the interesting thing about the draft. Whenever there are trades or proposed trades, even with guys who've already been selected, they have to take off one hat and put on another. One of the new hat wearers is with Andy Katz right now.
Well, thanks, Stu. I know you're going to have to take off this hat. The trade has been proposed. Now you're going from Portland to Indiana. What is your reaction of moving to Indiana?
My reaction is the same. I feel like I can still do the same thing to help Indiana win.
How do you fit in maybe with the Pacers?
I think with the coach they got there, he's a defensive-minded coach, and he loves shooting the 3. That's what I love to do.
The way the trade sort of works like this, did you have any reaction once you had heard that you were going to move from Portland to Indiana?
My agent kind of told me about that when when they called my name, and he said it might happen, it might not. So I'm happy about it anyway.
All right, Stu, back to you. I guess we're going to have to trade some hats back here.
Yeah, he will, but, he said he's happy about it. Here's another reason why he's happy about it, because he's actually going to Indiana, where his brother Kareem plays. So brothers getting back together. Former teammates are all his Darrell Arthur, former teammate. He's still in the green room. He's been on Jay Billis's best available draft board, but he continues to chew the gum and wait. Will it be the Cavaliers who pick him? The Cavaliers are on the clock. Just a year ago, they were in the NBA Finals. Here's a team timeline on the Cavaliers. Of course, they have a young fella named LeBron James. I think with a little bit of, seasoning, he might be a halfway decent player in the league. Led the league in scoring this year. Back on February 21st, they traded for Wally Zerbiak, Ben Wallace, and Delonte West. They lost in the Eastern Conference semifinals to the Celtics. Guys, we know that LeBron James wants and needs a lot of help. What do you think they should do here?
Well, they can go a lot of ways, but I think you can never go wrong when you talk about athleticism with bigs. Guys that can finish at the rim and be spectacular defensively. LeBron James is a playmaker. You need guys that can finish at the end of the other.
And for me, I think they're a very good defensive team under Mike Brown. I think they need more offensive firepower, so they need to find guys who can create their own shot off the dribble.
And if they can find somebody in the low post that can score, I think that would really help as well.
All right, Jay, your best available players right now. We know Darrell Arthur is on there. Who else is on your best available?
Well, another big guy, Costa Koufos from Ohio State, who's a very skilled big fella. DeAndre Jordan from Texas A&M, I wouldn't expect him to be picked here. He's got a long way to go. Very athletic, but not very skilled. An interesting prospect would be J.J. Hickson of NC State. Just a horse down low, and if you're looking for a guard, the best guard still available, I believe, is Chris Douglas Roberts of Memphis.
Let's go back and talk Darrell Arthur. We always wonder why guys who we think should be drafted aren't. What's the best thing about this guy, and how frustrating do you think it is for him right now?
Well, I think the best thing about Darrell Arthur is his ability to score. I mean, he's got a terrific turnaround jumper. He can run in transition. He can move his feet, slide his feet, play pick-and-roll basketball. So I'm a little bit surprised. I thought he would have gone by now. How frustrating is it? I mean, you can see it on his face. It's really frustrating. Everybody who's sitting in the green room wants to go quickly and get it over with.
Mark, you were the 18th pick back in 1987. I know you, like every pick, you want to be in the top 5 or top 10. What was it like for you waiting and waiting and waiting?
Yeah, it's a good point because I'm the one guy that can talk to Darrell Arthur right now. The bottom line is take a fresh piece of gum and enjoy it. Wait for your moment to prove everybody else wrong because it is coming.
All right. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, it is coming right now. This is a team that had 28 fourth-quarter comebacks last season, the most in the NBA. Who's LeBron going to call his new teammate? Here's the commissioner.
With the 19th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select J.J. Hickson from North Carolina State University. J.J. is not here.
Didn't have a pick in last year's draft. J.J. Hickson becomes the 8th freshman selected, which ties the record for most freshmen in one draft. And we're only 19 picks in. 6'9", 235-pound freshman from North Carolina State. Jay, you just mentioned him. You look like Nostradamus now.
Well, he's really strong, and he's powerful. He's an explosive big guy. He's got an NBA body right now, and he tries to bury his defender down deep in the low post and just overpower him. He's got some post moves, although he can still refine those low post moves, but he's really, really strong and powerful. That's the best thing about him. I think the one question that you have, he's a little bit undersized at the power forward position in the NBA, and I think he needs to work on his ability to step away a little bit, but his motor. Is he going to bring it every single night? But I think you put him around some veterans that can teach him how to do it, and I think he'll come along.
I like the idea of young athletic guy that can get on the block. You look at Cleveland last year getting rid of Drew Gooden. You need a presence on the post other than Ilgauskas. I love the move.
Here we go. Last year, remember 2007, in the entire draft, there were 8 freshmen. Already now, through 19 picks, there are 8 freshmen. Charlotte Bobcats are on the clock. Remember, they traded for this pick. When we come back, we'll find out which way Larry Brown and Michael Jordan decide to go.
Never never seen before. Kia Fest. Right now you don't pay, just drive away.
In 1944, a strange creature was captured by the U.S. government. Since then, he has lived among us in secrecy, protecting humanity from the things that go bump in the night.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
This summer, good never looked so bad.
I know I'm ugly.
Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
Now stay down!
In theaters July 11th.
Welcome back to the 2008 NBA Draft. The Charlotte Bobcats are on the clock at number 20. Now, this used to be the Denver Nuggets pick, but in exchange, the Nuggets get a future first-round draft pick from Charlotte. So Denver, even though they get a future first-round pick, they don't have any picks in this draft for the second straight year. As for the Bobcats, they already picked DJ Augustine at number 9. So here they have the number 9 pick and the number 20 pick. Larry Brown and Michael Jordan, what are they going to do, guys? What do you think they should do?
Well, I think if you look at the Charlotte Bobcats, they're loaded at the point guard position with Felton and Augustine. They're loaded at the wing position when you talk about Wallace and you talk about Jason Richardson. The only way they can possibly go is big.
And they've got to go, I think, a center big. And the best center prospect available, I think, is Costa Koufos from Ohio State, who can face up and hit a shot, and he can play beside Emeka Okafor and make him into a power forward, which he should be.
This is a franchise that in 4 years has still yet to make the NBA postseason. Michael Jordan, Larry Brown, a couple of Tar Heels. Larry got back into the NBA mostly because of Michael Jordan. What's his biggest challenge with an inexperienced team?
Well, to me, it's changing the entire culture, bringing a type of team that he believes in, which is hard-nosed defense, rebounding, screen-setting, ball moving. He preaches a playing the right way mentality. He wants unselfish basketball, and I think with a young team, you've got to protect from everyone trying to get their own.
Also with this team, you know, Adam Morrison missed a lot of time. Sean May missed a lot of time. What does it do to the psyche when you have guys that you expect to count on are missing so much time?
Well, I think I look at it this way. This is where Larry Brown, a guy that I played for in Indiana and also in LA, here's a guy where he does his best work, where he has a young, inexperienced group that hasn't accomplished much individually or collectively, sells to them the message of teamwork and getting the job done. He's a master at that.
He's also real tough on point guards, and he's got a bevy on him. Very talented, knows everything about the game, but as you know, being a point guard playing under Larry Brown, it is tough to play for him. Will the Bobcats go big? Will they go small? Here's the commissioner.
With the 20th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Bobcats select Alexis Ajansa from Saint-Étienne, France.
Alexis Ajansa from France. Told you the Bobcats had never reached the postseason. They also had never selected an international player until now. Fran Fraschilla always are all-knowing everything about international players. Who is this guy and what can he do for this team?
Wow, they've gone big and long, a 7'8" wingspan. Stuart, here's the interesting thing about this guy. I watched him work out 2 weeks ago in Dallas, 1-on-0, and he was unstoppable. But the problem is he's got to put a lot of weight on. Very skilled, runs the floor, makes basketball. He makes basketball look like he's playing Nerf basketball. That's how long his wingspan is. But so far, he is a productive player in the French Pro A League. The upside here and potential is enormous, but he's still got a long way to go in terms of gaining some strength. And it's going to be very interesting because he may actually benefit from staying overseas another couple years. And the interesting thing about foreign guys right now, the value of the dollar versus the euro when you pick 20th and lower in the first round really becomes an issue.
Fran, I just have to say this again. He's 7 feet and his wingspan is 7'8". 7'8"? Jeez. Alexis Ajansa, the first international player ever taken by the Charlotte Bobcats. Let's revisit that proposed trade. Andy Katz, you have some more information. Is there another guy in that Indiana trade? Excuse me, it's Rick Bucher first.
Yes, there is an additional player from Portland going to Indiana. Josh McRoberts is also included in the deal.
Andy Katz, now we bring you in as we look at what is now the proposed Pacers-Trailblazers trade. Indiana getting Jarrett Jack, Josh McRoberts, remember a former Duke Blue Devil, and the rights to Brandon Rush. Portland, Ike Diago, and the rights to Jared Bayless. Andy, how did this trade go down?
Well, I've got one of the partners of this trade right next to me here, and actually Brandon Rush was over to my left. They could have swapped hats. And Jared, when did you just find out about this trade?
When I was walking back over here to do some more media.
Now, did you ever work out for the Blazers?
Nah, I didn't.
Now, you just told me off camera that you still think you're going to be a pretty good team. How do you fit in with Portland? You got Greg Oden coming off of his injury, Brandon Roy, exceptional player. How do you fit in with that team?
Well, they're a great team already, and I think they're just missing maybe one or two parts, and you know, they're definitely a playoff contention team, and hopefully I can go in there and play hard and be that missing part.
You seem a little down. I mean, what's your reaction to just being sort of bandied about like this and being traded?
I'm excited for the opportunity. You know, obviously I wasn't waiting. I didn't know I was going to be left that long, but you know, the opportunity is there, and I'm going to a really good team that just needs a couple more parts to win. And I'm really looking forward to playing with Greg Oden, Brandon Roy, and all those great players that I already have there.
All right, well, maybe hook up with Brandon, switch hats. Back to you, Stu.
Thanks a lot. It's a whole hat-switching thing. Proposed trades, teams, and guys changing hats. And the New Jersey Nets are on the clock with the 21st pick, and they're on the clock at 21 because of a trade. It was the Jason Kidd trade back on February 19th when Kidd, Antoine Wright, and Malik Allen went to Dallas in exchange for Devin Harris, Sagana Diop, Trenton Hassel, Keith Van Horn, Maurice Ager, and first-round picks this year and in 2010. New Jersey's acting like Portland. I mean, trades here, trades there. What exactly are the Nets trying to do?
Trying to get better. That's what you're supposed to do when you have a disappointing season. When you look at the Nets last year, struggling as a team, struggling as a franchise, Rod Thorne, Kiki Vanderway, you have to applaud those guys finding a way to turn it around.
And I think getting Devin Harris and those 2 first-round picks was an excellent trade for New Jersey. Gave them more explosion in the open floor. It gave them youth, and it's going to give them a chance to add more pieces to their puzzle.
And at number 10, getting Brook Lopez, they essentially got a top 5 pick at number 10. I think New Jersey's got to be very pleased with getting Lopez at that spot.
A lot of work they're doing. Of course, they lost Jason Kidd. Earlier, they sent away Richard Jefferson in a proposed trade. Now, this is a team that missed the playoffs for the first time since 2000 and 2001. How close are they to being one of the elite teams in the East?
Well, I wouldn't say elite. I think if you are in the Eastern Conference, you have the ability to take the next step. When you look at Boston, just making a move, you put yourself in the picture. The Nets are not that far away. Now they must find a piece to try to fill some of the things that Richard Jefferson brought to the table.
Well, scoring-wise, I think they're going to struggle initially without Jefferson. Carter, you could count on. Devin Harris, very good pick-and-roll player. You don't know what you're going to get in a post-up game, and so that void with Richard Jefferson, to me, leaves them vulnerable scoring-wise.
Atlanta won 38 games, made the playoffs last year. There's always a chance.
It is the Eastern Conference. Golden State won 48 games in the West and didn't make the playoffs, so go figure. Jay Billis, who you have as your best available players? And well, of course, Darrell Arthur continues to be on that list.
Still sitting there and still the best value because of an excellent player and an excellent prospect. I believe in Costa Koufos. I think he is going to be a very, very good player. I've probably honestly got DeAndre Jordan up a bit too high, but because of his athleticism and his size, he's still a very intriguing prospect. And those 2 guards, Chris Douglas-Roberts and Mario Chalmers, really interchangeable at 21 and 22. If you're going to go with a guard, you can't go wrong with either one of those.
You know, Darrell Arthur, we saw him chewing the gum. You know, maybe it's a habit, maybe it's a case of nerves, but at least that's a better response than this young fella. Gone, just out. He's like, hey, Darrell, I love you, your family, but it's past my bedtime. The New Jersey Nets, their pick at 21, a team that went 11-18 after trading away Jason Kidd. They got younger and bigger with Brook Lopez at number 10. What are they doing at 21? Here's the commissioner.
With the 21st pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the New Jersey Nets select Ryan Anderson from the University of California. Ryan is not here.
You know, Ryan Anderson from Cal, 6'10", 235 pounds. He scored more points per game than Jared Bayless, O.J. Mayo, and Kevin Love in the Pac-10, leading the Pac-10 in scoring. Why don't we hear a lot about him, Jay Bayless?
Well, the New Jersey Nets fans here that are a little bit dumbfounded will love Ryan Anderson because he can absolutely score. He's got really deep range as a shooter. He's 6'10", and he absolutely can shoot it from NBA distance and do it with ease. He is a very good passer, has a very good feel for the game, and offensively, he's terrific. He shoots just about 50% from the field, over 40 from three, and shoots almost 90% from the free throw line. Now, he's got to get stronger, doesn't move his feet particularly well defensively, so he does need to improve in that area, but offensively, I think New Jersey got a very good player in Ryan Anderson.
You know, I mentioned earlier, people say the Pac-10 is not a basketball school. So far, 1/3 of the picks in this draft have come from the Pac-10. And the New Jersey Nets, busy. Draft day acquisitions, Bobby Simmons, E. Jin Lin, Brooke Lopez, and Ryan Anderson. They're going big, and they're going partly skilled. The Orlando Magic, they're on the clock. Darrell Arthur, he is waiting. The wait continues. Will he go to Orlando? Does he have what it takes?
It takes passion, competitiveness, heart, desire.
It takes motivation, hard work.
It takes sacrifice and dedication. It takes love.
Right now, Proactive Solution has good news if you have a difficult pimple or sudden breakout and are looking for relief. Because when you order now, you'll get the exclusive refining mask free with your 3-piece kit. Just a dab, and the mask is designed to zap problems. It's fast. It's dramatic. Instead of hoping for an answer, use the mask and you've got it.
I use the mask for spot treatment sometimes. You know, I put it on in the evening before I go to bed, and I was happy with how it made my skin look. And, you know, that's a good feeling.
I use the refining mask, and people starting to compliment me on my skin, and I was sold. That's what I tell people. It's like my little skincare army.
Call now and order Proactive Solution to help clear your acne and help prevent future breakouts. Proactive is the #1 best-selling acne system in America, with over 10 million customers around the world.
I enjoy life more. I get out there and I do the things that I want to be doing without having to worry about the way that I look.
And now you'll save 50% on Proactive for just $19.95 Canadian. That's right, Proactive is now available in Canadian dollars.
Proactive's really, changed my life. It's changed the way people see me, and every hour of the day I'm thankful for it. It's, like confidence in a bottle, really.
And you'll have the refining mask to zap problems. It's fast, as it helps revitalize the look of your skin.
For on-the-spot pimple control, I use the refining mask. Just a little dab, that's all you need.
It's a Proactive exclusive, and it's yours free when you order the Proactive kit at 50% off.
I use the mask over my full face just so that I can make sure everything's even. It's great.
Order in the next 3 minutes, and you can have the refining mask at no charge. It's Proactive's hottest product, and it's part of Proactive's best offer.
I can tell it works, I know it works, and it's definitely my favorite product.
Don't just dream of clear, beautiful skin. Make it real. Order Proactive now. Just call 1-800-357-7809.
It just makes you feel so good.
West 33rd and 8th Avenue, home of Madison Square Garden, the WAMU Theater, and the 2008 NBA Draft presented by Sprite. The Orlando Magic are on the clock with the 22nd pick. This is the team timeline. There are 52 wins, most since the 95-96 season, which was Shaquille O'Neal's last season in Orlando. And the big fella is just a straight-out freak of a beast. Dwight Howard, youngest to ever lead the league in rebounding. Hedo Turkoglu, the most improved player in the NBA. Jeff Van Gundy, your brother Stan coaches this team. You know more than anybody, except for Stan. What do they need?
Well, they need guard help in the worst way. They need a starting 2 guard. To me, they need a backup or equal to Jameer Nelson, and then they've got to get a 4-man who has the ability to let him play big some. They always had to play small with Rashard Lewis at the 4, which I think took a physical toll on him. They've got to have more versatility in the front court as well.
Magic won their 3rd division title this past season. They also led the NBA with 801 3-point shots. So is it going to be a guy who can shoot the 3-pointer, a guy who can run the team, or a big guy to join Dwight Howard? Only person who knows is NBA Commissioner David Stern. As we wait for him, understand this, Otis Smith, the GM of the Magic, is a former Orlando Magic player from back in the day in the early 90s. Here's the commissioner, David Stern.
With the 22nd pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Courtney Lee from Western Kentucky University. Courtney is not here.
Courtney Lee is 6'5", 200-pound senior guard. He was the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year. Scored 20 points per game last year, which was second in the Sun Belt. Jay, he's not one of these guys that we talk about a lot, but what do you like about him?
I love this kid. He's just a tough kid that's a really solid player. Very good mid-range. He's got a terrific body. He's a strong guard that's got a strong build. He's a good guard rebounder, pretty good range on his shot. And I just like, he can do so many different things, and he's tough as nails. I mean, he was developed very well at Western Kentucky over the course of his 4 years and really developed each and every year to become just a terrific player by the time he was a senior. And he'll be able to step in with Orlando and play right away. He's NBA ready. He's not a star, but he's a solid player that I think at some point could start for you.
You know what I got to say? I got to tell you this. Stan Van Gundy, hey, your brother is up here. At least tell the man what the pick is going to be. Help him out so he can look good on TV.
You're right. I wanted to, so much I wanted to say. A source close to the Magic said, you know, and my source didn't even come through with me. Gosh darn.
Who used to beat up who when you all were little?
Well, he used to drive and beat me up at the same time. So he was my ride, but also he beat me up. So all I know is he hasn't let go of that buffet down there in Orlando tonight, if you watch him.
Courtney Lee is the third senior selected and the first senior guard selected. We now go to video conferencing, all the wheeling and dealing. We have Kiki Vandeweghe with us now. Kiki, you guys are you're making a lot of noise and a lot of movements. What's the thinking behind it?
Well, I think the first thing is that we didn't think our team was going to be able to compete on a championship level. And we thought that obviously our fans deserve that. And so we needed to make some changes. You know, we had some awfully good players, and I think we got some good ones. But again, you know, we made I think a trade that I think will help us a lot in the future. And I think we got some good young players in Brook Lopez and Ryan Anderson.
Kiki, you also have Jin Lien, the 6th overall pick last year. You have a lot of bigs. How do you see all three of those guys working together?
Well, one of the things that was a problem for us was scoring up front. Last year, we got a lot of bigs now who can shoot the basketball. Ryan Anderson can shoot from the outside. Brook Lopez, I think, was going to surprise some people on how well he can shoot. And I think is one of the better big man shooters in the league, and if you look statistically, that's one of the most effective places you can have outside shooting. So we're very excited to have people up front who can actually put the ball in the basket.
All right, Kiki, we appreciate it. Again, the Nets missed the playoffs this year for the first time since the 2000-2001 season. The Utah Jazz are on the clock. The team that had the best home record in the NBA last season at 37-4. Darren Williams, 18.8 points per game, 10.5 assists. He and Chris Paul are quickly becoming two of the most talked about young point guards in the league. Utah lost in the Western Conference semifinals. Los Angeles Lakers. Guys, what do you think Utah, in what direction should they go?
Well, for me, when you talk about the Utah Jazz, I believe that they have to lean towards backup play at the point guard or two guard position. They need backcourt help.
All I need is don't bring any softies to play for Jerry Sloan. Only tough guys need to play there.
You know, if they need a guard, I think Mario Chalmers would be a good guard to go to because he's very solid defensively and he can get steals for you, be very disruptive.
Jerry Sloan, of course, one of the toughest NBA players when he played in the league. Jerry Sloan is also by far the longest tenured head coach in the NBA. Which way is Sloan and company going to go? Here's the commissioner.
With the 23rd pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Utah Jazz select Kosta Koufos from Ohio State University. Kosta is not here.
Well, he's kind of here in spirit because he's so big, 7 feet, 265 pounds, 14 points per game, almost 7 rebounds per game. Jay Bilas, you've been talking about this guy. You say he has a chance to be special, huh?
I really believe so. He's a finesse center that's got an excellent skill level, and he's got very, very good hands. He's got a jump hook, little turnaround jumper. He's right-hand dominant, and you've been able to sit on his left shoulder, maybe force a turnaround jumper fading away against him, but he can face up and hit a shot from deep. And I think he's got a lot of potential to get better and better. He's not a great athlete, and I think he needs to get stronger, and he needs to become a better rebounder and interior defender. But I think he's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of tools to work with.
And he's also got a lot of youth in him. Hey, through 23 picks in the draft, we have already set a record for most freshmen selected in an NBA draft. Kosta Koufos is the 9th freshman selected in the NBA draft. The Seattle Supersonics are on the clock, a team with the most picks in the draft. They've got 6. Earlier, they selected Russell Westbrook with the 4th overall pick. Who's going to be Russell's teammate? What will they do? We'll find out when we get back.
Don't blink, or you'll miss it. Right now at LensCrafters, a great sale on the glasses you need. So don't blink, or you'll miss 50% off all lenses with any frame purchase, including bifocals, no lines, and prescription sunglasses. With such a wide selection of frames, you're sure to find the look that will make everyone else blink. Hurry, LensCrafters 50% lenses sale ends July 5th.
In 1944, a strange creature was captured by the U.S. government. Since then, he has lived among us in secrecy, protecting humanity from the things that go bump in the night.
I wouldn't do that if I were you.
This summer, good never looked so bad.
I know I'm ugly.
Hellboy 2, The Golden Army.
Now stay down!
In theaters July 11th.
Welcome back to the WAMU Theater as we tell you about the anatomy of the pick. We take you behind the scenes of the draft selection process. Here's how it goes down. The GM is on the phone with league representatives.
To confirm with Indiana.
Now the league rep passes the name. In this case, it's Jared Bayless. The name is printed out. Lawyers make sure it's correct. They make sure the name is in the right spot on the big board. Yeah, that's behind the scenes of the big boards, lights, camera, action. It's like Broadway. We're right down the street from Broadway. The name is given to the commissioner, and he brings it to the podium to make the announcement. And then, of course, Jared Bayless.
With the 11th pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the Indiana Pacers select Jared Bayless from the University of Arizona.
And then, of course, Jared Bayless, his rights were traded to Portland. And this is why Seattle is now on the clock with the 24th pick. The pick, this was acquired in the Kurt Thomas deal. Seattle's got 6 picks. Where do you think that they go now? This is a trade recap from the Sonics and Suns last July. Kurt Thomas went to Seattle. Phoenix got a 2009 conditional second-round draft pick, while Seattle got this pick right here from Phoenix. All right, Seattle, the fewest wins in franchise history. They've got a real talent in the NBA Rookie of the Year, Kevin Durant. They've got a lot of picks. They got Russell Westbrook. What's going to complement them most right now? What kind of player?
Well, for me, when you think about Russell Westbrook, he's been the surprise pick of the draft, going number 4 for the Sonics. So they're either going to look like geniuses, or as Ricky Ricardo would say, they got some splaining to do. This is a big pick for the Sonics.
Kevin Durant needs some help. You saw him when the Russell Westbrook trade draft was announced. Durant had the biggest smile on his face. This is also a team, you know, it hasn't been decided where they're going to play next year. The owner wants to move them to Oklahoma City. Some people in Seattle want them to stay in Seattle. The vote was actually going to happen tonight. Fewest wins in franchise history. Is there a way that this team in the West can actually make the playoffs last year if they get a lot of production from Westbrook and whoever they get now?
No.
Why don't you think about it for a couple of seconds, even kind of mull it over?
There is not one chance that they're going to be good enough next year, and that's a hard sell for Seattle right now with their fan base if they stay there. They're not a good enough team right now to qualify for the playoffs, and their owner doesn't want them to be there.
Their owner is Clay Bennett, head coach P.J. Carlissimo, and the GM is Sam Presti. The guy who oversees all of this, NBA Commissioner David Stern, at the podium with the Sonics pick.
With the 24th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Seattle Supersonics select Serge Ibaka from Brazzaville of the Republic of Congo.
Serge Ibaka, 6'10", 228 pounds. No one knows more about this guy or any international player than Fran Fraschilla. Fran, what can you tell us about the second player born in Congo going to the NBA?
This guy is the youngest player in the draft, Stu, and here's the thing. If you're a Sonics fan or maybe an Oklahoma City fan, forget this name for about 3 or 4 years because he's likely to stay in Spain, continue to develop. But he is one of the most athletic players in this draft, and I think that he's a guy that has a lot. You know, we talk about potential. Jeff Van Gundy doesn't want to hear it, but 3 or 4 years from now, he could end up being a shot blocker and rebounder because he's a very good athlete. He's got a decent touch from outside. I had the luxury of working with him a few weeks ago. Not that I helped him any, but I really like this kid. He would have been a high school All-American this year. So he's not really ready to help the Sonics right away, but down the road some, he'll come back to the NBA and maybe be a household name, and maybe more in the Ibaka, maybe just not in the Ibaka household.
He's also used to a lot of people. Serge Ibaka has 17 brothers and sisters. 17.
How do you improve your experience?
His mother and father are both former basketball players. All right, there's one guy who's in the green room still. He's on Jay's big board. Darrell Arthur is standing by with Doris Burke now. Doris, what's Darrell thinking?
Well, I know there's been a lot of speculation about your emotion as you sit here. Tell us, Darrell, what has been the hardest part of this?
Just waiting, trying to see who's going to pick me up. Just waiting, see which team I can go to and just fit in their roster.
There have been plenty of NBA players who have either not been drafted or gone a lot later than expected. The two guys who come immediately to mind, Carlos Boozer, Rashard Lewis, both have had tremendous success in the league. What are these teams missing on?
Well, I'm just coming in and trying to bring the energy to any team I go to, try to bring a defensive presence and just show people that I can play.
We wish you the best, Darrell. Thank you. Stu?
Thanks a lot, Doris. I mentioned only one other player from the Congo has ever played in the NBA, DJ Binga of the Los Angeles Lakers. We now go to Stan Van Gundy. He looks a lot like one of the guys in this set, just, you know, a lot better looking. Video conferencing Stan Van Gundy with the Orlando Magic. Stan, first I got to ask you, I mean, Mark Jackson alluded to it. Why wouldn't you pick up the phone, call your brother, and tell him who you're going to draft?
Well, you know what? My brother hit on it. I didn't go in the war room part of it, Stuart, because I wanted to stay in the room where the food was, so I didn't have any idea who we were picking.
Well, hey, what do you like about this guy, Courtney Lee? It's your brother, by the way. Jeff, J-E-F-F.
I can see that.
Okay.
You know what? He's real athletic. I think he can really defend, and the thing I like more than anything in the film I watched on him, Jeff, was that he really knows how to play, and I think he can play with other good players. He's not a guy out trying to get his own. He scored even in college in the structure of their offense, and he was a guy who got better every year in college. And as you and Jay have talked about, he's been very, very productive and efficient. This isn't a guy where you're just looking at potential. This is a guy who's gotten the job done in college.
All right, we appreciate it, Stan Van Gundy, and we love the brotherly love that you two share. Hopefully, maybe, you know, in the second round, you can come join us here in the set and banter some more with your brother. All right, from Jeff's brother to his old team, the Houston Rockets. The Rockets are on the clock. Here's their timeline. Houston, one of the biggest stories during the regular season. Why? Because they had a 22-game winning streak, second longest in NBA history, and most of that winning streak was done after Yao Ming injured his foot on February 26th, missing the rest of the season. Houston, of course, made the playoffs, but they lost in the first round to the Jazz. Here's what you have from their starters and their key reserves last year. They make the postseason, but they've lost 7 straight postseason series. Guys, what do they need to do? I'm going to start with you, Jeff, because you've always got your finger in one of your old teams, don't you?
Well, I think they've got to get, improved health from their 2 stars. If McGrady and Yao are healthy, they're one of the 2 best teams in the Western Conference with the Lakers. I think they need a better backup behind McGrady and Battier, more size, more creativity off the dribble. I like what they've done in the past year with Scola, Landry, and getting Rick Adelman instead of me. So I like what they've done.
Well, for me, the thing they have to do when you look at McGrady, and you have to find a guy that can play multiple positions when Shane Battier and Tracy McGrady lead the game and have an impact on both ends of the floor. So that's crucial. That's the drop-off for the Houston Rockets.
Jeff, I got to ask you, Yao Ming, he missed the end of the season from February 26th. Do you know how well his foot has healed now?
Well, he still works with our former strength coach there, Anthony Falzone, and he's healing well. The problem is the force exerted on his lower body. This isn't one lower body injury. This is one body injury after lower body injury after another. And who knows how long his lower body can withstand the punishment of an NBA season. I think he has to think about modifying his practice routine to lessen the stress on his lower body. I think it's a big concern of the Rockets, as it should be. And I wouldn't be surprised if they make extreme modifications in his workout schedule.
Didn't Yao Ming already say that he was going to play for China in the Olympics?
Oh, there's no doubt he's playing, whether he's healthy or not. This is a man with great pride in his country, and he's going to walk that flag in to lead that ceremony. And this guy is a special player, we all know, but even more so, he's a special teammate. He takes pride in others' success as much as he takes pride in his own. I have great respect for how he's worked himself into being the player he is, but also he's one of the great teammates I've ever coached.
All right, Tracy McGrady, Yao Ming, and who else will the Houston Rockets get with the 25th pick of the draft, a team that had back-to-back 50-win seasons for the first time in 13 years? Here's the commissioner, David Stern, with the pick of the Houston Rockets. And yes, I did mention they've lost 7 straight postseason series. Tracy McGrady has never won a postseason series, always one of the biggest discussion topics whenever T-Mac gets to the postseason. Who's this new teammate going to be?
The 25th pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the Houston Rockets select Nicolas Batum from Lisieux, France.
Nicolas Batum, a French League All-Star in 2007. His father, Henry, was a professional basketball player in France. Fran Fuschilla, you've watched this guy, 6'7", 210. How athletic is he?
Oh, man, Stu, he is really a big-time athlete. I'd compare him to Rudy Gay a couple years ago in terms of what he could end up being. Very, very athletic in terms of NBA athletic, no doubt about that. He shoots the ball reasonably well. The one area of his game I'd like to see him improve is his ball handling. He doesn't have a lot of escapability right now, but remember, he's only 20 years old, and depending on what the Rockets do with him, 3-4 years down the road, like many of these young college and international players, he's got a chance to be very good. He's got to get a little bit tougher, but if you're taking a chance here late in the first round, this is a guy you take a chance on because he has super-duper athletic ability.
You see him walking up to the podium, shaking the hand of the commissioner. Now, as you notice, some of the players who are here, not in the green room, but they are here in the crowd. We bring in now ESPN, the magazine senior writer Rick Bucher with the latest on Darrell Arthur, who continues to be the only one left in the green room. Rick, why is Darrell falling?
Well, one reason is that apparently Arthur has a undisclosed kidney issue, and when he went for the personal physicals with particular teams, they declined to undergo the lab work, and that is the big red flag that is out there for a lot of teams. In spite of his talent, in spite of everything that he's done, the feeling is there's a big question about that kidney, and they'd rather not risk it. At least that's why he hasn't been selected to date.
All right, his mother quit her job as a truck driver to follow her son around the country when he was playing and to help support him. Wendy Knicks now at the Knicks headquarters with the new Knicks head coach, Mike D'Antoni.
Coach, there are so many reasons why you would think you would be interested in Danilo Gallinari. Your ties to the Italian League, you played and roomed with his father for a lot of years. I'm guessing, though, that's not why he's a member of the New York Knicks. Why was he your pick?
Well, he's our pick because we think he's the most talented player and has the potential to be a star. It's hard to find 6'11" guys that can put the ball on the floor and shoot, and he'll have to improve his strength and his defense, and we all know that I can get him to play defense. So, you know, he'll fight. He'll be tough, and I do know his background, but we obviously picked him for his talent.
There was so much speculation about your club, given the situation that you have looking for a point guard. There were some quality guys on the board when you picked. Why did you opt not to go that route?
Well, we really thought that, you know, point guard's a hard position, and just to come in and think you're going to turn a team around as a rookie is very hard to be put in that position. And really we're drafting on future, or the potential, and we thought Gallinari had more potential to be a very good player. There's also a free agent. There's a lot of different ways to build your team, and we'll try all different ways, but we thought we got the best player.
All right, and you know who to call if you have any trouble. I'm guessing you have his father's number.
Yeah, his father's in big trouble if his kid can't play.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot.
Thank
Stu,
you.
back to you.
Thanks a lot. D'Antoni, of course, played professional basketball in Italy with Gallinari's father, Vittorio Gallinari. And Vittorio had a reputation as a tough Dennis Rodman type player. Not personality, but just tough, rebound, a little chippy. Gallinari, well, he'll be playing in Madison Square Garden. Its history spans over 130 years, and now the world's most famous arena is scheduled to undergo a renovation.
The biggest thing to us is Madison Square Garden is an historical place. It's a magical place. And we needed to make sure we kept the history and we kept the magic. Through the renovation, we were able to accomplish bigger lobby spaces, bigger concourse spaces. There'll be more restaurants. We also currently have our suites on the top of the building. Our suites will be brought down. There'll be 20 floor-level suites. We'll also have mid-level suites that are going to be introduced on the 24th row, all by keeping the signature ceiling. Madison Square Garden is the only arena with a closed-in ceiling, creating intimacy.
Gallinari, the 6th pick, he'll be playing in Madison Square Garden, and he'll be playing in the new Madison Square Garden once they finish renovations. The San Antonio Spurs are on the clock. The pick is in. This for a franchise that has won 4 of the last 10 NBA championships and has played in the conference finals in the West 6 out of the last 10 times. Here's the commissioner.
With the 26th pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select George Hill from IUPUI. George is not here.
George Hill is 6'2", 181-pounder. He was the Summit League Player of the Year. He can score, he can rebound, and he can dish it out. 21 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. Jay Billish, no one has ever heard of him really outside of IUPUI. What do you think of him?
I think he's a really good player. Watched him a lot last year and the last 2 years. And he's a very, very good defender. I think he can play some point guard. He's only listed at about 6'2", but with his length, his wingspan is about 6'9", and he can handle the ball. He's primarily a combo guard, but he can get to the rim. He can shoot a little bit. He's got a very good mid-range game. He's got a very good all-around game, but especially defensively, I think he can be a special player.
He also has just 3% body fat. I mean, this guy is as in shape gets. We got plenty more to come here from the WAMU Theater in the 2008 NBA Draft. Who are the best players still available? Well, Darrell Arthur is still on the board. When will he go? The Hornets are on the clock, but they are making the trade, the pick, basically for Portland, pending a trade.
Proactive Solution has good news if you have a difficult pimple or sudden breakout and are looking for relief. Because when you order now, you'll get the exclusive refining mask free with your 3-piece kit. Just a dab, and the mask is designed to zap problem zits fast. It's dramatic.
I put it on in the evening before I go to bed, and I was happy with how it made my skin look. That's a good feeling.
I can tell it works, I know it works, and it's definitely my favorite product.
Call now and order Proactive Solution to help clear your acne and help prevent future breakouts. And now you'll save 50% on Proactive, just $19.95 Canadian. That's right, Proactive is now available in Canadian dollars.
For on-the-spot pimple control, I use the refining mask. Just a little dab, that's all you need.
It's Proactive's hottest product, and it's part of offer. So don't just dream of clear, beautiful skin. Make it real. Order now by calling the number on your screen or order online at proactivesolution.ca.
A clown! I thought this was a battleground, not a birthday party.
He's not a clown. He's a man.
We have chosen this ground to settle for good and all who will hold power over this bag. Us hot wings, popping with flavor.
Oh, oui, tasty blue cheese, sharp like a knife.
Oh, be swift, my chicken.
On go!
New Doritos Collisions. 2 flavors, 1 bag.
Our draft track so far, Derrick Rose, the first pick to Chicago. A Chicago native. Also, 9 freshmen have been taken so far. That is an NBA draft record. Joe Alexander, older than 20 years old, who was taken in the first 10 picks. Alexander, his stock just shot up. The West Virginia player. And Darrell Arthur, who is on Jay Billis's top available board, he remains in the green room. Andy Katz, ESPN.com senior writer, has the latest on Arthur's health.
Well, Stu, I just got a message from Kansas head coach Bill Self, who tested at Kansas that his tests were fine. So from Kansas' perspective, they don't see an issue, but the NBA is saying that there is a kidney issue. Let's go back to you, Stu.
All right, thanks a lot. On the clock now, the Charlotte Hornets, but New Orleans is actually making this pick for Portland. This is the 9th trade that Portland has made in the last 3 years of this draft. Again, it's a proposed trade pending league approval, pending the league making sure that all the contracts work out. Portland getting the 27th overall pick. So again, New Orleans will make the pick, but they're getting cash considerations to then later give the pick to Portland. Golden, last year's top pick in the draft. A lot of people don't realize this. When you look at this draft now, you're thinking, I wonder who's going to be the NBA Rookie of the Year. Well, guys, guess who it might be? It might be Greg Oden. He didn't play this year, so he's still eligible to be the NBA Rookie of the Year. Portland's making a long time since they've made. If you're a team that's young and struggling, why do so many trades?
Well, it can help you because you're trying to find the best, and they've done a great job of putting together a that is exceptional. If I was in the Western Conference, I want to win now because this is a team.
And sometimes owners don't get enough credit. Paul Allen deserves a lot of credit because he's spending the money it takes to win and win big in this league. And I think the Blazers, with Nate McMillan and Kevin Pritchard in charge and Paul Allen spending, they're going to be a team that's going to be in contention for a long time. And
talent together that gets to grow together, which I think is really significant. And they're all high character guys. I mean, that's been a real emphasis under Kevin Pritchard, and they've been active. They have, and having Greg Oden means that they're going to be a championship contender. They were 41-41 without him this year, and just having him back and healthy, that's going to increase that without question.
I mean, you put Brandon Roy and Greg Oden on the lineup, you can put you 3 guys in there, and they're winning at least 50 games, especially with Jeff.
Oh, don't try to be my friend now, Stu. Come on, man.
All I mentioned was the short shorts that you wore at the Knicks. I didn't really say anything. I mentioned the Trailblazers have been real busy the last 3 years. Well, before this season, they'd made 8 trades the last 2 drafts, 10 players acquired, 2 draft picks acquired, 12 players traded away, and 3 draft picks traded away. Portland, the youngest team in the NBA. They missed the playoffs for the 4th straight year, but still, as Jay said, 41-41 is not a bad record. Now, no matter who they get, Brandon Roy, Greg Oden, and a new draft pick, David Stern, it might be a real good day for Portland.
With the 27th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the New Orleans Hornets select Darrell Arthur from the University of Kansas.
tell you what, a lot is always made about New Yorkers. New Yorkers have a reputation for being rude, not kind. No one in here probably outside of Darrell's family has any connection with him. But this guy stood in the green room, waited for so long, the entire theater here at the WAMU Theater on their feet, clapping. Finally, Darrell Arthur goes in the NBA draft. Hornets pick him, Trailblazers will get him, and one of Darrell's family members is still not very impressed. Jay Billis, are you impressed with Darrell Arthur?
I really am. I know that there's some sort of controversy about this kidney business, but I'll tell you what, as a prospect and as a player, Darrell Arthur is very, very good. He can really run. Very good mobility in a straight line. He can get up and down the floor. He can move his feet and slide his feet, and does a really good job, I think, of getting ahead of his guy and forcing his defender to run with him. And if you throw the ball up to the rim, he can go and get it. He is skilled. He can use both hands around the rim. He can finish with his left. He can finish with his right. Outstanding turnaround jump shooter. I mean, that's something that he's always been able to do. He's got a little jump hook, but I think the real weapon that he's got offensively is his turnaround jump shot. He's a good rebounder, pretty good shot blocker, and you can look at his numbers and say, well, he wasn't all that productive, but one of the things you also have to look at is he played on a great and balanced team that won the national championship. He wasn't expected to go out and take a lot of shots, and he does a really good job of playing pick and roll. He can slip to the basket, move his feet really well, and in the NBA that's going to serve him well. And I think he can guard out on the perimeter as well. I really like him as a prospect. He just needs to get stronger.
Let's take a look again at Darrell Arthur's reaction when the pick was finally made. Talk about a weight being taken off of your shoulders. And I told you about the crowd here giving him a standing ovation. Everybody's got a heart here in New York. Check out NBA Commissioner David Stern. Even he giving some props to the man who was finally picked. Stephen A. Smith, you are with him right now.
Well, first of all, don't get used to that hat. Because, you know, the reports, congratulations. You know, the report says you're probably going to Portland Trailblazers. What was it like sitting over there for that long period of time? I imagine you never suspected you'd last this long.
It was just nervous for me. I was just waiting patiently, just trying to see what team was going to pick me up, honestly, and hopefully everything works out for the best.
Now, obviously, no one has any questions about your skill. You heard Jay Billis raving about you. I don't believe you missed a game in your 2 years at Kansas, yet they're here talking about some kidney issue. Tell us about your health.
Well, my health is fine. I took another blood test in Washington, and everything came out fine, but I guess those guys never contacted anybody. But as anything else, everything has been cool, and my health is good so far.
Well, you're in the NBA. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Doris is with your mama. Let me kick it to Doris.
Thank you, Stephen A. Sandra, as soon as your son Darrell was picked, the tears started to flow. Those tears are reflective of what?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said as soon as Darrell was picked, you began to cry. Those tears are reflective of what?
Well, I expected him to go sooner, and I could see the anticipation in him and the hurt that he may not go the first round. So when he was picked, it just got overwhelming.
Beyond his basketball skills, because Jay Billis has been up there praising what he is as a basketball player, you know him as well as anyone as a man. What can the NBA team and the NBA expect from your son?
Oh, he's going to do well. He always do well. You'll see when he get on the court.
I'm sure he's anxious for the opportunity. Congratulations to you and Darrell. Stu?
Thanks a lot, Doris. As I mentioned before, Darrell's mother, Sandra, quit her job as a truck driver to follow her son around the country playing his college basketball. She will now follow him right to the NBA. The Memphis Grizzlies are on the clock with the 28th pick. This is the pick that they acquired in the Pau Gasol trade. Remember, the Lakers got Gasol, and a 2010 second-round draft pick. Memphis got Kwame Brown, Javaris Crittenton, Aaron McKee, and the rights to Pau's brother, Mark Gasol. So Memphis, they gave away a Gasol, and they got a Gasol. Who will they get now? What kind of player do you think they need?
I think when you talk about the Memphis Grizzlies, they have to continue to try to go big and get some talent as far as in the interior lineup. You give away Pau Gasol, you got to go big.
And to me, they can't even think about trading Mike Miller unless they get a home run. Mike Miller had an outstanding year, shot over 50%, 40% from three, their leading rebounder. This is a guy that's a multifaceted player who's undervalued in this league, and I don't think Memphis should undervalue him.
If they draft Chris Douglas-Roberts, they don't have to pay any moving expenses. Think of how that would benefit everybody.
They added Kevin Love earlier with the 5th overall pick. Memphis is a team, we know them mostly, and there you see Kevin Love being picked. Pau Gasol was the best player in their team. He's now with the Lakers. Have any of you all seen or heard how good his brother Marc Gasol is or can be?
Yeah, he's a big banger, and he can take up some space inside. He's played overseas, big and strong, and he can go in there and help them be a more physical team. And, he's played internationally, he's played in the World Championships, and has always held his own as a physical presence.
Last year, after they traded away Pau Gasol, Memphis went 9-27. Fran Fraschilla, the all-knowing, everything about international players. Fran, what kind of player is Pau's brother Marc?
Well, as Jay said, he's much different than Pau. Pau's a finesse guy. Marc Gasol has actually really benefited from staying in Europe the last couple of years, and a lot of people didn't expect him to come on like he has. And right now, he's going to be, at worst, a solid NBA backup center and a little bit better offensively than people think.
All right, Fran, the Grizzlies allowed 100 points per game at least 63 times last year. That's the most in the NBA, so Marc ought to help if he is a tough defender. Now with the pick, here's the commissioner, David Stern.
With the 28th pick in the 2008 NBA draft, the Memphis Grizzlies select Dante Green from Syracuse University.
Dante Green, 6'9", 221-pound freshman forward. Yes, I did say freshman again. 17 points per game, 7 rebounds this past season for Syracuse. He was born in Germany. He also lived for a time in Japan. Grew up in Baltimore. Other top players came out of the Baltimore area: Rudy Gay, Carmelo Anthony. Dante Green, is he ready for the league, Jay Billis?
No, but he's got a lot of tools. I mean, he's a wing athlete that can shoot it from the perimeter. He only shot 41% from the field on the season, largely because half of his shots are from 3, and frankly, a lot of his shots are bad shots. But he has got a lot of ability and a lot of tools. He just can't find the key to the toolbox right now. But he's only 19 years old. I think as he matures and learns how to play, if he gets with a veteran group that can bring him along and they take their time with him, I think he can be a good player, but he's got to learn to take better shots. I mean, he is not selective at all with the shots he takes. That's why he shoots such a poor percentage.
28 players selected so far. 10 of them, more than 1/3, are freshmen. Next on the clock, the Eastern Conference finalist. Hey, we saw Kevin Love. He went 5th to Memphis. We know Kevin Love has what it takes. Does everybody else?
Kevin Love goes to the hoop and makes it in. You're watching the 2008 NBA Draft on ESPN. And 100% reason to remember the name.
The 2008 Suzuki Grand Vitara has won a Gold Key Award for Best New Compact SUV 2 years in a row. It comes standard with 4-wheel drive, automatic climate control, power windows, locks and mirrors, ABS, speed sensing volume control, keyless entry, 5-year unlimited roadside assistance, and it's also got an available 5-speed automatic transmission. So test drive a loaded Suzuki Grand Vitara today and get 0% purchase financing for 72 months OAC.
From 7 a.m., try one of our delicious breakfasts and start your day off right. Subway. Think fresh. Eat fresh.
A clown? I thought this was a battleground, not a birthday party.
He's not a clown. He's a man.
We have chosen this ground to settle for good and all who will hold power over this bag. Us hot wings, popping with flavor.
Oh, oui, tasty blue cheese, sharp like a knife.
Oh, be swift, my chicken.
On go!
New Doritos Collisions. 2 flavors, 1 bag. This summer, If demons, trolls, and monsters were only imaginary, these guys
We're moving out.
would be out of a job.
Now stay down!
They're planning a war with the human world.
Oh my God. Your weapon of choice? Five-fingered Mary.
Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, in theaters July 11th.
Welcome back to New York and the 2008 NBA Draft. The Detroit Pistons are on the clock. This is a team that has had 7 straight 50-win seasons. As we look at their team timeline, a whole lot of success during the regular season, but not so much in the postseason, at least not in the Eastern Conference Finals. They've been beaten in the Eastern Conference Finals the last 3 years, losing this year to the Celtics. On June 10th, Michael Curry named head coach of the Pistons. Only one other team before has ever lost 3 straight conference finals, the Celtics team back in the 50s. We bring in ESPN, the magazine's Rick Bucher now. Rick, Darrell Arthur stayed for a long time. He was finally just drafted.
Right.
We heard earlier possibly why he was left in the green room.
Right.
What's the latest?
Yeah, we should clarify that the NBA has a physical, and that the kidney issue did not show up there. Individual GMs told me that they heard about the kidney concerns and requested those physicals and the lab work, and it was refused. And so that is where that information comes from.
All right, we appreciate the update, Rick Bucher. Back to the Pistons, who are on the clock with the 29th pick. They've got, for the last 3 or 4 years, probably the most consistent and best starting 5 in the league the last few years, but they always struggle in the conference finals lately. What do they need that can get them over that hump?
For me, when you look at the Pistons, I believe they need a big guy that can post up easy offense. They played Antonio McDyess and Rasheed Wallace a lot. Rasheed Wallace really being the lone guy that can post up and make plays. They need someone that they can trust when the money's on the line.
And do you know how many teams would want to be in their position? They've had incredible success. I think because they've lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, so many people are diminishing exactly what they've accomplished. To me, going 6 straight times to the Eastern Conference Finals is a remarkable achievement and is one that should be celebrated.
When you watch them play and you see their veteran players like Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups, and then some of the young guys, is this the look of a team that can remain up at that top level, Jay?
Yeah, I don't see why not. It'd be nice to get younger. Rodney Stuckey was a huge step forward last year and played extremely well. I mean, he's got a chance to be a really good player for Joe Dumars in that whole system. But it'll be interesting if they do go, with the big guy. Do they go with somebody like DJ White, who may not be as durable, but he's an older player that can go in there and fit in? Or do they go with a guy like Bill Walker from Kansas State, who's a great energy guy? He's got some knee problems, but he's explosive athletically, kind of in the mold of Jason Maxiell. He can come in there and really change the game for him. Not playing a ton of minutes, but when he goes in there, he can impact the game athletically.
You talked about Rodney Stuckey being a guy who's poised to be one of the better point guards in the league. They have Chauncey Billups. I mean, Chauncey Billups is one of just 2 active point guards who can say that they were an NBA Finals MVP, Chauncey Billups and Tony Parker. We look at this team, we see their past success, and we think that they could have some future success. As a team, though, this is something that they've got to make sure, as you said, Jay, to get a little younger. The team that led the league allowing only 90 points.
With the 29th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Detroit Pistons select DJ White from Indiana University.
DJ White is 6'9", 251 pounds, second-team All-American. He was also the Big Ten Player of the Year, 17 points, 10 boards a game. He's got some intensity, doesn't he, Jay?
He really does. I mean, when he first came out of high school, he reminded me a lot of James Worthy with the way he ran the floor. And he's had some injuries. He's not the same kind of athlete that he used to be, but he was really productive this last year. He's very good in the low post. He can face up and hit a face-up jumper. He's got a little turnaround jump shot. He can block shots. Very good rebounder and a high-volume rebounder. This last year, they did a thing called the bubble drill where they would really go after rebounding-wise, and he would sign that thing when he won the drill. And he signed that sucker a lot. I mean, he's a double-figure rebounder and was a workhorse all year long in the Big Ten. And I think he's a really good fit because he's a hard hat player for the Detroit Pistons, and that's the style that they play.
This is the last time the Pistons took a player from Indiana in the first round was a guy named Isaiah Thomas back in 1981. Come on, don't boo Isaiah. Hey, DJ White makes the 4th senior taken so far in the first round. That ties the record for the fewest seniors selected in the first round since 1985. The Pistons bolstering that whole attack that they have. When you look at DJ White and you look at the Pistons, can he make this team a better than getting to the conference finals in the East?
You got to applaud Joe Dumars and the job that he's done putting together young talent along with the veteran players. You talk about not just the Rip Hamiltons and the Tayshaun Prince and Chauncey Billups. There's young guys like Stuckey, Afalo, Amir Johnson, as well as Maxfield. So a good job of getting young pieces, and now they're trusting those guys off the bench.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be, for Michael Curry, the new coach, I think Flip Saunders did such a great job there that it's going to be a hard act to follow in getting them back to the Eastern Conference Finals and trying to push forward to the finals. So while it's a good job because they're going to win a lot of games, and it's great in your first job to win a lot of games, it's going to be hard to duplicate what they've done over the past 6 years.
You gave props to Joe Dumars. He has consistently been one of the best GMs and decision makers in the league. Do you think they keep their 4 top players together? Tayshaun Prince, Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, and Rasheed Wallace?
Well, Joe Dumars talked about it. Hey, the phone is on the hook. I'm going to pay attention and listen to calls. So he's paying attention, but if you don't get anything, that's a group you keep together.
All right, the team that beat the Pistons in the conference finals is a team that went on to win its 17th NBA championship. The Boston Celtics are on the clock. And remember, their championship in a lot of ways began here at draft night a year ago when they made the trade with Seattle that sent them Ray Allen. That was June 28, 2007. And these are the other moves they made. They got Kevin Garnett in late July, Eddie House, James Posey. And look at this list. We just got out of the postseason. All 6 of these guys at different times, and some real consistently, made major contributions during the postseason, which is why the Celtics, had a 42-game turnaround, which is the biggest turnaround in the history of the NBA. You just won a championship. You're all happy. And now we got to ask you a week later, what do you do to get better?
Well, first of all, what you do is you re-sign James Posey. To me, he had a huge impact on them winning the NBA championship. Intangibles, three-point shooting, and a tenacity that really was the cornerstone of that team. And I think the second thing, and this is off the main line, is they've got to re-sign Tom Thibodeau as their assistant head coach. He did such a great job putting that defense together, which was the main component in them winning the NBA championship.
Doc Rivers, one of the classiest guys, he got his first championship. The Celtics are the first team in NBA history to have a winning percentage of .450 or lower one season and then make the championship the next season. When you win a championship, how much thought are you, if you're not one of the top guys, how much thought are you putting into this draft just a week later?
I think you got to do that right away because you have to have the disease of greed. You want to do it again. It's not just you're not satisfied with winning a championship. Why not continue it? This is a team that had one mission and one mission only, to ultimately win it all. And I think if you're Danny Ainge or Doc Rivers, the thing is to go down the list and look for a guy that you can trust. That's why you have the jury. A bunch of guys that you could trust. When you called upon, they got the job done.
And one of the things that I think is really interesting about the draft, and Danny Ainge has done and his staff have done a good job throughout, is acquiring pieces and acquiring assets. And when the time was right, they were able to package those assets together and get some really good things. And this 30th pick, it seems like it's not much. You're not going to get anybody who really help you, all that stuff. This is an asset, and this is important, and they're treating it as important.
But Stu, if I was Doc Rivers, I'd still be in the Boston Garden pouring champagne over myself. I would not have left there yet because these championships are hard to get. So, hey, if I was Doc Rivers, he did such a great job, I wouldn't even be thinking about this 30th pick.
Did you all hear that the shirt that was Gatorade soaked, that shirt went on sale on eBay? I think it got like $50,000. On the one hand, that's pretty cool. On the other hand, get a life. I don't know. I'm just saying. You talk about the disease of greed. Nice to be greedy, but But Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, none of them are young men. How long can they hold up at that top level?
Well, the thing you like about those guys is their willingness to compete. It's not a freak that they got it done at this late stage of their career. These are guys that you can trust. You can trust in the summertime. You can trust after winning it all. They're going to come back better and wanting more.
All right, as we wait for Boston's pick, Jay, what stands out for you the most in the first round so far?
How young so many of these kids are, whether they're the foreign kids or the freshmen. I mean, this has been a really youthful draft. And you talked about 4 seniors, and that seems like a lot. You know, we're talking about, boy, 4 seniors went. Remember when it used to be all juniors and seniors, and now it's all freshmen. And we had an amazing year in college basketball with that freshman class, and you've seen the strength of that freshman class in the first round of this draft.
10 freshmen so far. 10 out of 29 picks are freshmen. Back to the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. When we watched their Eastern Conference final and we saw the toughness of the Boston Celtics, did that surprise you at all that they were more tough than finesse?
Well, I thought their defense really won out. You think about it. They struggled the first 2 rounds. This is how hard it is to win in the NBA. They played elimination games against Atlanta, an elimination game at home against Cleveland, went into Game 5 against Detroit, tied 2-2, down to the wire in that game. Won it, won Game 6, and then won the championship. But it's a fine line winning in the NBA. Injuries, passion, enthusiasm for the job at hand, that'll be their challenge next year, trying to repeat.
Now, what does it take for a player to not get fat and happy with the championship, especially if you've waited so long? Once you finally get one, what are the odds that it's going to make you a little less desirable?
Well, I think what you do, you take experience and you learn from the Miami Heat a year ago. You know, winning a championship did not come back with the same focus, did not come back with the same passion. And if you're Doc Rivers, if you're Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, you look at the example that Pat Riley, the Miami Heat, Dwayne Wade, and that cast laid for you. Come back bigger, better, and stronger, and prepared to defend your title.
You know, as we wait for the Boston Celtics, I guess, you know, if you win a championship, I guess you can have a little bit longer than everybody else to decide. Kind of earn that. While we wait, Jay, and look at your board for best available players, who's on this list right now that stands out for you?
Well, the top big guy is DeAndre Jordan from Texas A&M, and it's really a shame. I mean, he wasn't ready to come out, but if you're going to be a first-round pick, I can understand. But unless Boston pulls the trigger on DeAndre Jordan, he's going to be sort of 2 strikes against him, not ready and then not being taken in the first round. But Chris Douglas-Roberts and Mario Chalmers are the 2 best guards.
All right, the Boston Celtics, their pick is in, and here's the commissioner. Oh, the commissioner's running the okey-doke on us. Here he comes now with the pick of the defending NBA champion Boston Celtics.
With the 30th pick in the 2008 NBA Draft, the Boston Celtics select J.R. Giddens from the University of New Mexico.
JR stands for Justin Ray Giddens, the 2008 Mountain West Conference Co-Player of the Year. 16 points per game, almost 9 rebounds. He's got his socks pulled up, one of them, Jay, but how does he play?
Well, J.R. Giddens started out at the University of Kansas. He is a very talented player. He's had some issues off the floor. He's had some issues on the floor. He has been at times very difficult to deal with, but he has all the tools. Great-looking NBA prospect, athletic, runs the floor, really good scoring ability. He can take deep shots. He can pull up off the dribble. I thought that Steve Alford at New Mexico this last year did a really good job of keeping him with both feet in all year long, which was difficult to do because Giddens has been a difficult player to deal with, but played very well in Orlando. And I think people really respect his athletic ability. They were just worried about what he's got in here and up here and his aptitude for the game in the NBA.
Well, the draft just got a little bit older because he is the 5th senior now taken in the draft. And we bring back in our man Dick Vitale. Dick, the first round is over. What are your first impressions?
Well, you know, Stuart, I think certainly it's a draft for potential, especially for big players. When you look at kids like Thompson from Rider, and you look at Spates from Florida, and you look at Randolph, and you look at Kufis, all big players with a lot of potential. So potential, potential, potential. At number 4 with Westbrook, kind of surprised. I thought they'd go for Kevin Love, put him with Durant. I think great combination, find a guard later. If they were going guards, I thought they'd go with someone like Augustine or Bayless or Gordon. I think, much more proven players. I like what New Jersey did. I like Brook Lopez, a 7-footer, to help inside. I think Ryan Anderson could shoot the ball, so I think Jersey helped himself. Little surprised when the Charlotte went for the big guy from France. Alexis averaged only 5 rebounds a game, 5 points a game, but they must see potential in his size. I look at this draft, the one and done. I think it's shame on you, the term student athlete. These players should be allowed to go right out of high school. Rose and company, they should have went right to the NBA last year. They really, in many cases, kids are being forced to go to college. They don't want to be there. Brandon Jennings already has said that. I'm going 1 year if I can go to Arizona, and then I'm going to go play, or I may go to let these kids not deny them if they're ready to play. And those that do go to college should have to go for at least a minimum of 3 years like you do in baseball. I think I look at the draft again, as I stated, we live in a world of potential. I'll tell you, kids out there, Chris Douglas Roberts, Chalmers, I look at those kids, DeAndre Jordan, just think about all the experts, all the guys that do all the great analysis. What about Carlos Boozer, Arenas, and I could go on, Michael Redd, Ginobili, and a host of others. So keep your dreams alive, have that drive and desire. And Mr. Jackson, I will simply tell you, you are a brilliant leader at St. John's when I covered you, my friend. And if I were a general manager, you would not be in the studio now. You'd be a head coach somewhere, because you learned from two of the best, Mr. Carter-Seca and Mr. Patino. My guy Jay, Mr. Van Gundy, you did a phenomenal job. And Stewart, Carolina, #1 in the nation next year.
It's only because all those guys came back. Hey, thanks a lot, Dickie V. The first round is all about youth. Buddy. 10 freshmen, 8 sophomores, 18 of the 30 very, very young. When we come back, we will hear about another proposed trade involving DJ White. It's been a heck of a first round. O.J. Mayo, Derrick Rose, Michael Beasley, and a bunch of others going with love and happiness from their families. We're coming back with the second round.
You're watching Raptors NBA TV.